Hello and welcome to another episode of the Grindbin. I'm Mike Wood.
I'm Chris Mann.
I'm Molly.
I'm Amber.
Today we're going to be talking about 1979's C.H.O.M.P.S.
Oh, shit.
Hey, Bobby, I got the money.
Yeah, I made the tea. But you're a hooker.
Get that goddamn thing out of your mouth.
What is seven hookers?
Spooky ain't got no real rhythm.
We're gonna play a little game, baby.
I just love funny games. Get a little girl all hot and horny.
This is Los Angeles.
How the hell would women live? I'm horny. And maybe Daddy would have had to kill himself because he couldn't get us up anymore.
What a shame.
Come on, just step on the gas before we get creamed.
So guys, C.H.O.M.P.S. And you're hearing a new voice. Well, one, our most requested guest of all time, Molly, you are back.
Yay.
You got lost in the grotesque episode, but now you're back.
I did.
We never referenced why you left. You just did. So
Everyone thought you got that one bagger.
yeah, the old Linda one bagger,
Yeah.
one and done. But now you've heard Amber's voice. Amber,
Hi.
you have introduced the movie Dr. Minx to this podcast.
That's the best movie ever,
You-
besides Scorchy.
Yeah. If you haven't voted for your Benny ballots, get those in, because right now there's only one person who's ever voted for Connie Stevens for the Hall of Fame, and it's Amber. She's a big Scorchy fan.
It's a great vote.
You also have a poster of Scorchy in your home.
I do.
Really?
I do.
Oh,
Yeah, I do.
wow.
As well as the Manhandlers.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
And you almost got an Unholy Rollers poster.
No, I do have an Unholy Rollers poster. I just haven't framed it.
And you're the one who figured out that there's a hidden dick in that
There's
poster.
a hidden dick in the bed frame.
Yeah.
Like
hidden-
a Little Mermaid scandal.
Yeah, it's a
Wow.
real Little Mermaid.
Wow.
Yeah. So, Amber, you are one of our Patreons,
This is true.
but you're also a longtime friend of Molly and I's.
Yes.
More Molly's than me.
I was
We've
at
been
your
through
wedding.
that today. Yes. You have known Molly for quite a long time, me for quite a number of years.
But we have the same birthday.
We do. It's the best day of the year. We're not going to mention it on this show because that's the last thing we need.
Nope.
Amber arrived here this weekend via chartered flight. She flew
Yeah.
chartered planes
From
into
Oakland.
here from Oakland via Mr. Crown on
Yeah.
Crown International Airlines.
That's right.
Amber, can you tell the listeners why would you want to fly a charter flight other than now? We should start off by saying you get very upset that it's not super expensive.
Well, I mean, Mr. Crown was paying for it for me to be here. So I couldn't pass it up.
Of course, he's flown in one of our patrons to be on a show. But
Yeah.
why would you want to take a chartered flight?
It was better than Southwest.
Well, I would say because it's drugs.
Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about that. I mentioned that to you earlier. Like, they have no TSA on these chartered flights, so you can bring whatever you want. They literally showed me a placard with fireworks and gasoline and asked me if I had that. And I said no. But everyone on my flight smelled like weed.
So we pick her up at the Burbank airport, and we're thinking, there's going to be a bunch of Richie Riches out in this parking lot. No, bunch of weed heads, bunch of old stoners.
Please describe the people that you saw.
They were all from Humboldt County, that's for sure. But I would just say lots of duffel bags,
I saw a lot of tracksuits.
a lot of tracksuits. But also, here's the thing. If you're going to smuggle weed on a flight, maybe not dress in weed shirts and weed hats. Like,
Does it
just
matter
a thing.
on a chartered flight?
Yeah, I guess not.
Well,
Mr.
Yeah.
Crown does not care.
Yeah, who fucking cares, right?
Mr. Crown goes for top dollar for the lowest dollar in terms of quality.
Crown style,
Yeah.
yeah. So how did Crown International Air rank up there? Was Super Chick your
In flight.
stewardess? Yeah.
Yes. I had a super chick and I got free vodka tonic and it was wonderful.
So he treated you right.
Yep.
Oh, great. Well, maybe we'll hear from Mr. Crown later in the episode because he's very happy to know that somebody just gave us a 5-star review on iTunes
Oh.
and wrote, "I can't believe they got rid of Mr. Crown. Bring him back."
Well, he's been laid low in all fairness.
Yes, he has been laying low. Also, for some reason, the username was Crown
Is
underscore
laying low
Mr.
a euphemism for a drug-fueled coma?
Could be.
John DeLorean style.
But we should say that Amber didn't come here just on Mr. Crown's dime. She also had to bring a duffel bag full of weed.
Yes.
So,
I mean, that was part of the deal.
yeah, beach girl style. It was just
And
in a clear
exotic
trash
iguanas.
bag. Yeah.
Yes.
So, guys, today we're talking about C.H.O.M.P.S. Now, nobody picked this movie. It was just me. I found it randomly online because this trailer is one of the craziest trailers you'll ever see. It starts out with a man ripping a dog's head off and going, hey, check this out. But no, he's not murdering dogs. It's a robot watchdog. C.H.O.M.P.S, made in 1979. Apparently, it says it's short for Canine Home Protection System, but where does the O and the M come into that? I guess home is supposed to be H-O-M in there?
Hom.
Hum.
Yeah.
Maybe it's silent.
Or do you think there's maybe a hidden meaning? Also, am I supposed to name them? Because the title of the movie says C.H.O.M.P.S, you know.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to go like, is it supposed to be chomps or am I supposed to go like, K-H-H? Like, how do you pronounce
Yeah.
that?
I think it's like Chuds.
Yeah, you just
Which
you
would've-
just say it.
Yeah, which would have been a better mashup. Chomps and Chuds.
Chomps and Chuds, maybe a sequel. Yeah, they could have done Chomp sequel, Chomps like Bud the Chud. Yeah, it could have been good. So, guys, this was a Hanna-Barbera movie.
Yeah, I noticed.
Their only live-action movie they ever
I read
made.
about that too.
It was a deal between Hanna-Barbera and, Grindbin favorite, American International. They should have known. I mean, were the people at Hanna-Barbera... Not that they make quality over there, because, good Lord, I know there's some people at this table that are fans of Hanna-Barbera, but in all honesty, a lot of their stuff is trash, especially that Jabberjaw.
I resent that.
But do you think they ever looked at an American International movie before they agreed to the deal?
They had not. No, I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I don't think so, because they would have been like, oh, no, this is not what we want to... They don't make children's movies.
Watched a full episode of Jabberjaw. It's delightful.
No, I've never watched a full episode of Jabberjaw.
Well, then quit your shit talk. Jabberjaw's where it's at.
I can only make it about 2 minutes in, and that's enough. Too much jabbering. So, guys, through American International, they were supposed to make 9 live-action movies.
Yeah, I found that very surprising.
They signed a 9-picture deal with Hanna-Barbera. They're like, here we go. We're starting strong. Gonna start with Chomps. And then it bombed. Nobody saw this movie.
It's basically like if they gave Muttley his own movie.
They're like, yeah, we're gonna start. It's like kind of like the MCU, but if they started with like a
With
lower,
Muttley.
yeah, like a lower level character. We're gonna start with Muttley
Wait,
and
whoa,
go
whoa, whoa.
up to
Maybe
Magilla
this
Gorilla.
has like an after credit scene where we see like the rest of the wacky racers.
Oh man,
And it like all comes full circle like a Marvel movie.
wow. You know, I never thought of it. We didn't watch till the end of the credits.
Yeah.
so.
Wait, so I thought there's 2 versions of this movie.
That's what you've said. That there's an R-rated.
Yes.
No,
no,
not
no.
at all.
There's
What?
No.
There's a G-rated and there's
Yeah.
a PG-rated because of something that is said at the end.
Wait,
of the
which
movie.
version did we watch?
We watched we clearly watched the PG version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Also,
this was the 70s.
is this
so.
movie for children?
That's what I've heard. It's made for children.
Because I have a lot of issues with this movie.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of
We'll dig into it.
yeah. As we get into it, also, I do think. Did anybody else think, by the way, that Chomps might be like
Gay? Because I thought so.
You think Chomps the gay dog? He was a very progressive robot dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that he was like, oh no, I programmed something else into him?
Yeah,
Bum,
yeah.
bum, bum, bum.
Yell 69,
programmed
you'll
for
find
love.
out. Yeah.
No, I thought that. Did anybody else have in their mind when they're watching this? Have you seen the latest season of Black Mirror?
Yeah.
Did
Well,
anybody
well, not
else
all-
think
no.
that maybe in that post-apocalyptic black and white one that maybe this was Chomps? Like maybe those robot dogs
See, I
that
thought
went
the whole
around
thing was
killing
just
people.
like a really shitty version of RoboCop.
yeah.
I mean, it almost follows
know,
the same plot line.
If only RoboCop had a dog.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. I actually wrote in my notes that I wish there had been a scene with that Doberman that like paralleled the ED-209 scene.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Where Roddy Cox is like, all right, now check it out. And then he just
Yeah.
goes, like, bites a guy's balls until he falls out the
Yeah.
window.
Yeah.
So I heard in the original version it was supposed to be a Doberman, but they wanted to make it more family friendly, and
Well,
so they made it Benji.
This
basically.
was, and also the Shaggy Dog, because this was
Yeah.
like a really good era for like scruffy mutts.
Right.
Yes.
Totally.
But we're going to get into it. The producer of this movie, who is Joseph Barbera,
Yeah.
who's the Barbera and Hanna-Barbera, wanted to make it a Doberman Pinscher, and they convinced him not to.
Yeah.
And he's convinced that's why the movie bombed. He was like, because you made it too friendly. Nobody wants to see a robot-friendly dog.
What about like Rin Tin Tin Canine Cop?
Yeah, or Benji the Hunted.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, the darker side of Benji.
Yeah, it's true.
So, guys, this movie was directed by Don Chaffee.
Don Cheadle.
Don... Yeah. He's a
Yes.
British-born director. Started his career in the film industry working...
Fun fact: Don Cheadle got his start in Hollywood on Chomp.
It was supposed to be called Cheetles.
He started working in the film department.
He played the role of Chomps.
Yeah. Yes, Don Cheadle does the voice of Chomps in this movie. He's a real Michael Winslow, and then he can just do sound effects.
That explains a lot, actually.
Yeah. So Don Chaffee is a British-born director, started his film career in the art department for a movie studio, and then all of a sudden they were like, this man should not do the art anymore. He should direct movies. And we got...
Did he make the Chomps puppet? Which, by the way, I am convinced is a dead dog.
Wait.
Okay, we won't get into it.
Okay.
No, actually, he directed some good stuff. Like, he directed a lot of UK TV, including the show Danger Man, which I haven't seen, but a lot of episodes of the original The Prisoner.
Oh.
He directed a bunch
love
of
that
episodes
show.
of that.
Yeah.
And The Avengers, the UK show. And then he went on to direct a number of movies, including 1960's Dentist in the Chair. And that's about a burglar who steals dentistry equipment by mistake
Oh, yes.
and then tries to sell them to dentist students. And then it
That sounds
says,
very British.
mild amusements follow.
He also
Very British. Very British.
Mild amusements. Because it's a
Mild
British movie. They're like,
yeah. Can't get too out of hand.
yeah. Oh, just a little funny.
Yeah.
Don't
You know?
get the heart racing too much now.
And then he directed Disney's Prince and the Pauper.
Oh, but yes, that's the one with Mickey. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he also
As-
No, the live action.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I've seen the Mickey Mouse. Princess
Then,
Barbara.
guys, he directed Jason and the Argonauts.
No, really?
Yes, he
Oh,
directed
God.
that movie.
I bet you he did have something to do with the Chomps puppet then.
I think so. Actually did quite a few Disney movies. You're not going to believe the one I'm going to mention soon here. But he also directed a movie in 1964 called They All Died Laughing. Here you go.
That's how I felt at the end of this movie.
An English professor decides that there are too many useless people in the world and invents a gas that will kill them off.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
That
okay.
sounds very happy.
Yeah.
But
it
first-
sounds like mustard gas.
Yeah, but first,
Cyclone B.
hold on. But first, they'll at least have a good laugh.
Aw.
So it's like
Is this a Jerry
it's like
Lewis movie?
Hitler with the smile.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The day the clown
Or like the-
died.
It
and-
is. It's
yeah.
a real day the clown died.
Yeah.
Or cried.
Cried, yeah.
Yeah. You think there was a Jerry Lewis? He's like, hey, smell the gas, you know?
What's that smell, lady?
1977, he directed Peach Dragon.
Okay.
So he made that movie, which you like that movie.
No, I don't. I hate that movie.
You hate Peach
Yeah.
Dragon? Oh, I thought
well,
you liked
I
that.
might like it now, but as a kid, I found it really, really slow.
Yeah, real chomps.
It was hard for me to get into that one as a kid.
2 years later, he directed this movie.
Okay.
Wait, don't we have a friend who watched this movie as a child?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
we do. One of our friends said he saw this as a child, which I was shocked.
In the theaters, right?
In theaters?
This movie was in a theater.
he's not that old. 1979?
No. Okay, he probably has it on VHS.
Yeah. The director of this movie, though, passed away in 1990 at the age of 73, so he's not the oldest binner, but he had a good run. Dick Robbins. So, guys, how many people do you think wrote this movie?
I saw that. It was like 4 or 5.
3.
Yeah.
3 and 2 story
always
credits.
the
Oh,
three.
okay.
Uh,
So three
story
is,
credits.
three is
Okay.
normal, right?
3 is the magic number
Yeah.
for Grindbin. It's
Yeah.
almost always a 3. Dick Robbins, one of them, 37 credits. What do we have? A cat? We have a cat shitting in the room.
Only the best for Crown Studios.
Okay, so
I
you're
found
gonna.
it odd that Chomps never shat.
No, somebody pointed that out. That he doesn't shit.
Oh,
you don't
that's
have to
true.
walk
You're
him.
right. Yeah. That's
You're
true. That
great
was a part of the
gag.
movie.
He just-
Really? They do say, well, you don't have. He never shits,
Yeah,
and you don't
he
have to walk
literally
him.
says he never shits, and
Oh.
you don't have to walk
And
him.
you don't have a gag where he lifts his leg and oil shoots onto a hydrant?
You know,
Yeah.
they needed that. That must have
Yeah.
been a number. One of the numbers we don't
Yeah.
hear because there's 1 through 100 apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Which you can never say at all.
Nope. No
yeah,
numbers.
so okay, we'll get it all
Yeah,
together.
okay.
But Dick Robbins, who's one of the screenwriters, he's known for
Oh,
Spider-Man.
I wanted to mention Dick Buttons, who I learned about this week during the Olympics. Figure skater named Dick Buttons.
Yeah, one of the most famous figure skaters
didn't know
of all
about
time,
that.
old Dickie Buttons.
Yeah.
So
Dick
okay, we're cutting this.
Buttons. Look on Wikipedia.
Okay.
You just want to say Dick Buttons.
I do. It's so funny. It's his name.
As you're gonna
Dick
notice,
Buttons.
oh god. As you're gonna notice from a lot of these
Good old
screenwriters,
Dick Butt.
oh god. She's having fun. As you're gonna notice,
Dick
You are worse than me.
Buttons.
Molly is such a
You
goofy
can leave
mood.
this in.
Oh, no.
Yes, you can. This is what the people want.
Yeah, they always want you back on the show. They're getting Molly
Dick
today.
Buttons is a national treasure. We must honor him during this Olympic period.
We should. We
Yeah.
should. Hail to the Dick Buttons, the most famous American figure skater of all
Yeah.
time.
Dick
He
Butt.
has the name of a construction worker, and he looks like one too. So,
Dick Butt.
Yeah, his routine actually, he did. He figure skated to YMCA with a hard hat. It was great.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. Of course, he didn't.
No, he did not.
But Dick Robbins, who's one of the screenwriters in this movie, 37 credits. Now you're gonna
Actually
notice
wrote
this.
Dick Buttons on here.
No, stop it. Just stop.
Oh, wait,
my
no. I
Stop
wrote
it.
Dick Buttons because of red buttons.
Yeah, red buttons. Okay.
Okay.
Don't worry, it's all gonna get cut out. Okay, are you gonna let me read it now?
Go for it.
Okay. So Dick Robbins, who's the first screenwriter, 37 credits. As you're gonna notice from most of these people, all cartoons. So
Oh,
he
yeah,
worked
yeah,
on
yes.
Spider-Man in the 1960s, the Super Friends, Scooby's Laugh Olympics, which we've discussed on this podcast before, which
Oh, yeah.
sounds horrible. And then we said that Chris and I were making fun of it, and we had multiple listeners
I wonder.
mention how they loved it as
I wonder
children.
if, like, in these sequels, if they were going to bring something in like Scrappy Doo.
Oh God, like Chomps and Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the last thing Chomps needs is a fucking
A Scrappy.
Yeah.
I love Scrappy.
Scrumpy.
He also wrote the Godzilla cartoon. This is the only movie he ever wrote, of course. And then Dwayne Poole, the other screenwriter, 65 credits, lots and lots and lots of TV. Also, same thing, Laugh Olympics. He wrote The Fonz and the Happy Days Gang, which was an animated version of
Right.
Happy Days, which I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
Episodes of the Smurfs. Now, here's a cartoon. You guys, do you like Laverne and Shirley?
No.
Nope.
I've actually.
Well, do you know what
No
everybody would
opinion.
want to see? A cartoon version of them called Laverne and Shirley in the Army,
I mean, I would like that. I would definitely like that.
which is apparently a cartoon adaptation of Laverne and Shirley when they get drafted into the war.
How many episodes would that have?
I don't know, but I believe it ends with them taking down Hitler.
Yeah.
Well, that would be
It
wonderful.
ends with them losing their minds in a POW camp.
Yeah. Yep. It's animated. And then he also wrote
Which really adds to like the hallucinations that they experience in that camp.
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
It gets to like real Ralph Bakshi style at
Yeah,
some point.
like from severe dehydration,
Yeah. Laverne and Shirley at the Holocaust.
which is ironic because didn't they work in like a bottling plant
Yeah.
surrounded by like
Oh, yeah,
beverages
you're
all
right.
the time?
Yeah.
Such great ideas. I love this. I love it so much.
What is that the one where like da-dee, da-da-da,
Yeah.
da-da? That's how they skip off to the gas chamber.
Right.
At the end
Okay.
of it.
Huh.
What?
All right.
He also wrote a lot of Alvin and Chipmunks. So the other person who wrote this movie,
I love Alvin and Chipmunks.
don't we all?
I don't know why you're dismissing all these cartoons. They're all great.
Because I'm trying to get through this.
Oh,
We've had
okay.
a 20-minute conversation about Dick Buttons, which you have or haven't heard, depending on if I felt like cutting it out of the episode. Because
Dick
Molly
Buttons,
is
American
really
hero.
in a mood tonight. And so then Joseph Barbera is the last screenwriter. Joseph Barbera, who also produced this movie, the only movie he ever wrote, he decided to also throw his hat into screenwriting this as well as producing it. This was his baby. And his partner, William Hanna, I believe his name, told him this was a terrible idea, but he went with it anyways. And he's like, "Nope, you're dumb.
Follow
We're going,
your heart.
Yeah,
Follow your heart.
We're going live action, baby." And it
You
didn't
do
work.
you.
Yeah.
Do you.
Do you think William Hanna was standing outside the premiere going like, "You learned your lesson yet, Joseph? Or we're
fucking
going
schmuck."
Chomps 2 now, huh?"
This is probably the only example I can think of a movie I've seen where it seems like it should have been animated. Usually it's the opposite, where like someone comes up with an idea for an animated show and you're like, no, that probably should be live action. But this is the total, like this should have been a cartoon.
No,
Yeah.
I like that it was live action.
I think it's bizarre. It was definitely like
Absolutely not suited at all for live action.
It was live action. It should have been like a series, like where it goes on different adventures and cases, maybe.
I mean, I don't know.
Oh,
You know,
Chomps the crime
honestly,
dog.
I think
Yeah.
they probably should have just burnt everything associated with this film before it was made.
All right, on that note.
So we know your recommendation right now. Burn it. Okay, so we get in the cast. Wesley Urey, who plays Brian, probably most well known as Will Marshall from Land of the Lost, the TV series.
Yeah.
He was on every episode of that. This was one of his very few movie roles. He also was in, well, he acted a bit more, like really not much acting other than this and Land of the Lost. But he created a show called Dragon Tales.
Oh, I love Dragon
Oh,
Tales.
I love that show too. Yeah, it was great.
That was on PBS.
Yeah, he made that show.
Well, I like that show. Ord was the big, lovable dragon. He was a bit of an oaf.
Yep.
Yeah, from
Yep,
Chomps
yep.
to this.
Yeah.
So, he was, by the way, it says that show ran from 1999 to 2005. You were watching it then?
Hey, I have a little sister. And I like cartoons.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. He was also the head writer for a show called Spy TV
Okay.
Oh,
in
okay.
2001, which
Yeah.
had Michael Ian Black, and it was some
Yeah.
sort of hidden camera
It was
show.
really
Oh, I
funny.
remember that.
It was
too.
really
It was
funny.
very funny.
Yeah, so he made those shows.
They're very different from each other.
And very different from Chomps, that's for sure. So Valerie Bertinelli, who plays Casey in this movie,
I don't remember a single character's name other than Chomps.
well, Brian and Casey say their names every time they're on screen, just so you don't forget them.
There was many other characters that I wrote down.
I didn't write any of their names down, and I do not remember a single name.
They're pretty.
other than Chomps.
They are disposable. I mean, who's fucking watching this for
Yeah.
the characters other than Chomps?
No, it's only
Come on.
Chomps.
I
So-
remember
Yeah.
Wine Boy, Visor Girl.
Yeah, so Hat Lady,
Explodey boy.
Visor Girl.
Yeah.
So Valerie Bertinelli was the daughter of an executive at GM, and that's how she got into acting because they
Oh,
moved.
she like plays the same role almost.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
totally.
Very interesting. She moved here because her dad got transferred here, and then she was like, "I want to be an actress." They enrolled her in school, and she immediately got casted on a show called One Day at a Time.
Oh, that show.
She was on 205 episodes of that. And that show ran for 9 years.
Whoa.
God damn.
She was also on a lot of TV and movies. 1987, the only other... No, actually, like, this was it. Like, this and one other movie.
But
The
she was
other
on a
movie-
lot of TV.
A lot of TV movies and a lot of
Yeah.
TV. The only other movie I have is 1987, Number One with a Bullet, which stars the dynamic duo of Robert Carradine and Billy D. Williams.
Shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's an action movie. I think
I
we
would
might
think
have to
so.
check that one
Yeah.
out, especially because we saw Pom Pom Girls, and Robert Carradine in that movie is a fucking madman.
Cool.
So that's an interesting one. And then she did lots of TV movies. Eventually, she was on Touched by an Angel. She was
Oh,
on every
my
episode of
favorite.
I
that.
love that show so much.
I've actually never seen it.
No,
But
no.
I do believe that you've seen it.
Oh, I've definitely seen it. Just like I was watching Seventh Heaven today.
Oh, so that's how you know Valerie Bertinelli.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She was on like all those episodes.
Yeah, and also on every episode of a show called Hot in Cleveland, which I only know because my
Oh,
mom
I've
watches
definitely
it.
seen all the episodes of that.
You've watched that show too?
Yes, I
A real
definitely
Betty
have.
White classic.
Oh, yeah. Come on. Come on.
The guy who plays Ralph Norton, so again, Molly, you don't know, just call him Boss Man. The
Boss Man, okay,
yeah,
got
the
it.
boss. Conrad Bain, best known for playing Mr. Drummond on Different Strokes. So he was like the dad, the caretaker in that movie show.
Is he the one that molested them?
No, that's the bike shop owner. No,
Okay.
Whoops.
Well, it happens on the show.
it does.
well,
Future
not
Made
making
Bit
this
episode.
up.
I didn't
Yeah.
say you were. No.
He's like, what? Yeah. He goes, "Hey Anna, do you want to check out this bike in the back? Huh?"
That
And
really
that's
does happen.
what happens. Yeah.
Want to come pump some tires?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can pump me too.
Oh, my.
So he was also on the show Dark Shadows for a while.
Oh, okay.
He played the hotel clerk on that. But he was in as Dr. Arthur Drummond or Dr. Arthur Hammond in Hello, or I guess Maude. I've never seen the show, but I've heard of Maude. He was on every episode of that. Hello Larry was the original show that he played Arthur Drummond, like Philip Drummond. And then Different Strokes was like kind of a spin-off, I guess, from that show. It's very odd, but I only wrote this down because do you know that he reprised his role as Mr. Drummond from Different Strokes on the last episode ever of Fresh Prince?
What?
Okay.
What?
Wow.
Has anybody here seen the last episode of
Wait.
Fresh Prince?
Yeah.
Didn't you and I
Yeah.
have this discussion that like every TV show is like another spin-off TV show?
Many of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
like
a
how
lot.
Family Matters is just a spin-off of
Yeah.
Perfect Strangers or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Or Who's the Boss,
Or the
whatever that was.
Jeffersons and
All in the Family.
All in the Family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, Perfect Strangers and
Wait, it's not Perfect Strangers. What's the Tony Danza one? Is that Who's the Boss?
Who's the boss? Yeah, but
Yeah,
I
that's
thought-
just like Family Matters is a spin-off of that. Like Harriet Winslow played the hotel, like she was an elevator
that was
operator
Perfect
or
Strangers,
something.
though,
I
right?
think that was Perfect Strangers.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
Perfect
she's
Strangers.
an elevator operator,
Yeah.
and then they're like, let's give this lady her own show and then not have her be a main character.
Yeah, that's kind of
Great.
weird. Well, I bet they were hedging to have some of those characters from that show to come in to kind of boost the viewership to start with. Then you just decided not to.
Gotta
JK.
say, by the way, there was a big demand when we said that we were going to do the show Urkel Jerks. People
Yeah,
were like,
really?
we want to hear it.
Oh,
so.
wow.
Despite being vocal about wanting to move on from the show, Gary Coleman agreed to reprise his character of Arnold in the 1996 series finale of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Remember when he was almost our governor?
Yeah, not almost.
Not
I wouldn't
almost,
say.
but
He probably
let's-
lost to the porn star, I think.
I believe in revisionist history, and I'd like to say that he was almost our governor. In fact, he was our governor.
Apparently, in the last episode of Fresh Prince, like Arnold and Mr. Drummond went
Make out.
into the house that, like the bank's house. Apparently, at the last episode, they're trying to sell the house, and all these people come through, and the characters from Different Strokes come
Make out.
through. Yeah, and they make out,
With Dick Buttons.
With Dick Buttons.
and they just are like gonna buy the house. Why?
There's
Just bizarre.
crossover
Yeah, they were like, let's just end it on a bang, right?
ratings.
Yeah. I've never seen the last episode of Fresh Prince. I think I gave up like
Maybe
halfway
that should
through
be a
that
mini
show.
bin.
Maybe. That's just maybe there's like more characters that come in, you know, like
no,
all
I,
sorts
I
of
saw when it aired, it was nothing. Just Will turns the lights off on the estate and leaves, and everyone claps.
Sounds like the last episode of Roseanne, which I watched recently.
they just turn off the lights and everyone claps.
Yeah, and Roseanne does. She like hugs all the furniture and then that's it.
Hugs the furniture. Goodbye,
Pretty much.
couch.
Well, I mean, it's coming back and like.
Does she just like is she carrying around a thing of gasoline and just pouring it around the house? She goes, "Goodbye,
no,
couch.
she just
Goodbye,
like,
microwave."
She like hugs all the chairs and like.
What do you
Like
think the last
couch.
episode of Married with Children was like?
Oh, I saw that.
I
too.
think
don't
that
know.
Al
Al Bundy
Bundy-
flushes a toilet and then sheds a tear.
I was like that, or he like they all walk into like a Dexter kill room
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
end,
yeah.
and he's just like,
Yeah,
Happy anniversary."
Bend over, pig.
Yeah, maybe the last episode is just a hardcore porno.
That's
Yeah,
what everyone's
he finally
wanting.
gives it to her. You know?
What was the
Let's go,
last
Bill. They won't
episode
back.
of Home Improvement?
That's
Tim
when Al
Allen.
snaps.
Yeah,
That buzzsaw goes
Yeah.
off the table.
Al's got a gun. Oh no!
The joke was it was a nail gun.
Ooh. Wait, we know how the last episode of Family Matters ended. Urkel went to space.
Yeah, that's right.
That is true.
And then he miraculously ends up on the ground.
Yeah.
Marrying, yeah.
Wait, didn't he like land on the ground and he lands on one knee and he goes, "Laura, will you marry?" And she goes, "No."
Wait, wasn't Alf a Family Matters spinoff?
Alf?
Wait, not
No! Just stop it.
Everybody thought about that for a second, and that makes me
Not
really
for
happy.
1 second. Not even for an iota. Al was in the 80s. Come on.
Okay, before we get through, so we get into the
Urkel
movie.
is actually Alf's son.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
There was a scene where Alf fucked Mrs. Tanner or whatever her name was. And,
Tanner.
isn't it the Tanner family also in
no,
in
that's
Alf?
Full House.
No, I do think they're called
Wait,
the
maybe
Tanners.
it's Alf and Danny fuck.
And that's how that woodchuck puppet was born?
Oh, I think Alf's more of a Joey guy. I don't know.
Oh my
I don't know.
god! What are you guys even talking about?
Well, what was the family that Alf was with?
Molly would know.
I'm trying to find out.
The Bill Maher looking guy.
It was the Tanner family. I'm right.
Okay.
By the way, the guy who played Mr. Tanner not looking too good nowadays.
No.
Holy God.
Didn't
No. He looks like he got eaten by cats.
He's just his. For some reason, he put his IMDb picture as him as an old man in a bathrobe, like looking, not even looking at the camera, like looking at the floor.
looking at death.
Like, this is my life.
Yep. Slippy when wet.
That's what Alf did to him. So, guys, before we get into it, the two people I want to mention last is Red Buttons is in this movie. Fuck him. Longtime comedic actor, not funny in this movie.
No.
And then
He's no Dick Buttons.
no, he's no Dick Buttons.
no.
And then Grindbin All-Star, Chuck McCann.
Oh.
Put him in the can. Am I right, Chris?
right.
Fuck Chuck McCann. We can't stand any movie this man's in. He was in Thrashin'.
Yeah.
Worst part, because he kept trying to get boys in his van. Why don't you come check out my skateboard? Come in the back of my van. I got plenty of them. And they're like, yeah, that's great, Mr. Skateboard. And then he
Why
was
do
also...
all these movies have vans in them?
Because it's the 70s. Well, Thrashin' was the 80s.
This is America.
Yeah. We used to be a van country.
We're a van nation.
Yeah, now we're more of an SUV, you know.
I love Van Nation.
He was also in Lunch Wagon, so fuck him. Chuck McCann is he's horrible.
Anything
Horrible.
he does is just cringe-inducing.
I mean, I like him on DuckTales, but anything live action, it's like, ugh.
Do you think his family loves him?
No,
well,
no.
no. Is he dead?
We can only hope, Chris. So, guys, we get into the movie. The first thing that's the big warning is the AIP logo comes up, and I'm instantly like, oh, no. You got about a 40% chance this movie's going to be tolerable.
There's no Crown logo.
No, AIP is much more scary. So then there's a cartoon intro for 5 fucking minutes.
I liked it.
You did not.
I did. I had hopes that the rest of the movie would be animated, and then it wasn't.
I thought it was going to be animated, too.
It would have been better if it was animated.
I would not support this animation.
That's what they know how to do. Like, the style of humor that they were using did not translate.
No,
to live
this was
action.
clearly supposed to... It was all cartoon humor, but in the real world, blowing people up is not as funny as it is in a cartoon. It's more
it was,
like...
Honestly, it was
holy
kind of
shit.
funny.
It was a lot of... This was very shocking.
Yeah.
It's like MASH humor.
Yeah. You know, we'd go into a lot of depression afterwards, you know. We'd have little retrospects about...
Suicide is painless.
Yeah. That's
the
theme song to
MASH.
MASH.
It is. It is. Yeah.
But the cartoon intro goes on for a good 5 minutes. And does it have really anything to do with Chomps,
There's
the
a
movie?
dog in it.
But neither, the Pink Panther is the same way.
Yeah, but I feel like William Hanna was just like, Joseph, this movie's a real shithole. We got to get some sort of cartoon in it so people will, at least know we put our stamp on it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, nobody would know this is a Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
But I don't think they wanted anyone to know after it was released.
Oh, yeah. Like Molly said, I think they burned it all. So that goes on for a long time. That's all I write. Just long.
I just said long cartoon intro. Is the song from something else?
No, so... We should get into it. So Chomps has a theme song. You'll hear it 900 times if you watch the movie. In a 90-minute movie, they somehow fit it in 900 times.
Will you sing it for us?
No. But we finally go to the movie. Okay, now here's the thing. So this movie exists in a world that is, again, so this movie's for kids, apparently. Mm-hmm. And the first thing we hear is, lock your doors. Lock your doors because crime has run rampant.
Oh, yeah, there's the newscast.
Yes, and there's a newscast, like apparently the evening news now is like, everybody lock your doors. For God's sakes, get a guard dog. The guy tells you on TV, he goes, it doesn't even have to be a big dog. Just get any dog
that can bark.
Yes, because the world outside those doors is hell on earth. Like, the apocalypse has hit, apparently, in this movie.
Any dog that can bark.
So what a great way to start a kids movie by instantly telling the kids, lock your doors, stay inside, don't go outside, beg your parents for a dog, kids.
And they flash images of Vietnam.
It's bad out there.
Yeah.
And this whole movie, there are constantly, within like seconds, people robbing everybody. Like burglars on the loose in LA,
They're
1979.
everywhere.
It's just, there's one point where people are just riding down the street, they go, Mercedes over there. They don't even want the car, they just want the tires. Like, that's how bad the world's gotten.
People are eating rubber.
That's why.
That's how they keep
Don't
war
they know they
around
can
it.
eat all these dogs?
Not the robotic ones.
So the beginning of the movie is this whole newscast about how horrible the world is and how we need to just cleanse it and how we need guard dogs. This is the world it's setting up.
What's interesting is before this movie, I watched The Seventh Seal, which parallels in an odd sort of way.
You watched
Let's
that
hear it.
before this?
I did.
Okay. Lay it on me.
Well, you know, like
I'm a big fan.
They're a big chess game or something?
no, but like everything about like
Don't open your doors.
only death is real.
Yeah, like what a way to introduce children to movies.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, hey kids, by the way, there's a thing when one day you're going to close your eyes and they'll never open again.
They'll never open again.
Embrace the darkness,
Yes.
children. And until then,
It's
get a
only
dog.
downhill from here.
Yeah. So this is the world we inhabit.
The
in
dog
C.H.O.M.P.S.
is like the chess game because it's there to like kind of distract
yeah.
while you're trying to find like the true meaning of life.
Yeah. You know.
Wait, does C.H.O.M.P.S have an existential meaning? I didn't really get
C.H.O.M.P.S does. C.H.O.M.P.S represents the distraction while we're trying to figure out the ultimate truth.
Yeah.
Okay, let's dig into it.
So in this world, a crime-infested LA, right? Now you either
Is it LA?
it has,
has
to be,
to be.
right? So in New York in 1979, you had Charles Bronson, who would walk around and shoot muggers, quote, muggers, in Death Wish, you know.
I feel uncomfortable when you say that word.
In
This is
LA,
2018.
With finger quotes, by the way.
in LA, we have C.H.O.M.P.S.
We do.
So he's like a real Death Wish on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Like he takes care of the muggers in LA. And so
Surely there's a better word.
well, that's just what he calls them in the movie. So
Okay.
I'm sorry, muggers is a bad word.
What is happening right now?
Why is muggers bad?
Yeah,
Just
why-
fill us in.
Odd.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but that's just what he calls them. And well, he's like,
You can say
he
it.
took my wallet, and then he tries to
All
shoot
right,
a guy.
let's keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, so I immediately like, what world are we living in? And then we're right because the dog. So C.H.O.M.P.S is watching the TV broadcast, sucking it all in, learning the way of the man. And then we see these criminals that try to break into this house.
Yeah, I think there was weed plants around that breaker box.
It did look like it.
It totally did.
And by
I know
the way,
because I was on that charter flight.
this guy lives in like a mansion.
Yeah,
Because-
I also wrote down, where does this guy fucking live? Also, everything amazing starts in a garage.
Yeah, there you
Oh.
go.
You know, like Apple or
Yeah.
HP or
C.H.O.M.P.S.
whatever. Or C.H.O.M.P.S.
Yeah.
Yeah.
C.H.O.M.P.S.
Or
HQ.
like meth labs.
Yeah. One in the same.
C.H.O.M.P.S is like the Lisa in many ways.
Yeah.
I agree.
Apple.
Yeah. It's
So-
a great invention.
The criminals try to get. But by the way, so the criminals, for some reason, go to a breaker box, but that will never come into play because they don't ever turn off the power.
No, they don't. Because C.H.O.M.P.S knows what's up.
Yeah, and so somebody tries to walk through the garage door, and he jump kicks the door, and it hits the guy in the face, and then they run off. The guy dives into a car.
Yep, they drive away.
And C.H.O.M.P.S. Now, we should say C.H.O.M.P.S. looks like Benji.
Don't you think it's odd that none of these robbers had a gun?
Well, it's a kid. No, actually, they do have guns. Not these
Not
ones.
these ones.
Not these ones.
Yeah,
Does
yeah,
anyone
Not
ever?
yet.
Not yet.
I don't remember. Does anyone ever shoot Chomps?
You know, you're getting ahead of yourself, you know. Maybe it does. Don't spoil the movie, you know. No, nobody ever.
Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
That would be great if somebody tried
Well,
to
it
shoot
seems
John.
like that's the obvious way to take him out.
Well, you don't know. He could catch bullets.
Well, why
That
didn't
could
they
be
show
a great
that?
scene, is if, like, instead of
You're
him
just-
catching a
You're
frisbee.
just ending the movie.
Yeah, because I mean, his brain is in his stomach, right? That's kind of what we.
Yeah.
We're getting way ahead of ourselves.
So, anyways, he stops these criminals, and then this guy just runs down his bathroom. He goes, "Good job, Chomps," or he says something.
No,
like
he's,
it
like,
says a
out the
number.
window.
Yeah, and he's like, "You really took care of those criminals," and it's like, okay. So then we learn that basically we inhabit a world of crime, and this robot dog that already exists is the only way to stop it. Apparently, And we go to two white guys in an office.
Did you notice it's Norton Security? Like
Yeah.
did.
Computers.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
yeah.
Norton.
Yeah.
Norton
Computer
antivirus.
So you
security
say
antivirus.
Norton antivirus is like the modern day C.H.O.M.P.
And C.H.O.M.P. started in a garage.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, shit.
So
Maybe
these-
that's why Norton antivirus sucks so much, is because a dog is doing it.
It's just
Wait,
a
we haven't
dog.
gotten there yet.
It's a dog and a keyboard. Just kind of.
yeah, a dog who could do sound effects.
Wait, we don't know that yet.
Okay, so these two white guys are sitting in an office, and now that this is the day, and the news reports still go on. They're like, seriously, people, lock your doors. There are criminals everywhere, and they go, get a guard dog, get a guard dog. So these guys, they're watching the news report about all the crime going on, and they say something about how they're waiting for some guy and he's late and all this stuff, and these are the security guys. We're big Norton security men. And then we just kind of cut because they just needed that pun joke about the business going to the dogs. Then we go
God.
yeah. So then we go to Brian's home, which is the man who's invented C.H.O.M.P.S. So Will from Land of the Lost, and he has a dog that are they trying to even do like a
Switcheroo,
thing?
like a
Because-
bait and switch.
Yeah, because
Yeah, I think they are.
now he's calling the dog Rascal.
Yeah.
No,
So-
no, I think that dog
I
is
thought he was
Rascal.
calling that lady Rascal.
You rascally
he
minx,
has-
you.
He has. Well, okay. This scene is he just ventures out into the apocalypse in his truck, right?
Oh yeah,
And-
I wrote down that it was a sweet yellow Ford truck. I would love that truck.
Yeah, and
It's rad.
he pulls out of his driveway and he goes,
Yeah.
Rascal, hold down keep an eye on things for me. Make sure
Yeah.
there's no more criminals.
Right.
And so at first you think like, okay, so Rascal's the robot dog, right? No. So then
Rascal's the regular dog.
what's weird though
The
is like
mortal dog.
yes, but did you notice this? So Rascal comes out of the garage then holding a giant bone with like flesh on it.
Yeah, it's a turkey bone.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like a person. I was like,
No,
did they
no,
catch
no,
another
no.
criminal
They-
last night?
It's specifically called Turkey by another character coming up very soon.
Good.
It's
I'm
called
glad they
Turkey
clarified it.
By the other dog character.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this is when we get the introduction of the other dog character, which his name
what
is.
the F? Because that dog doesn't do anything but narrate.
He's basically
Okay.
he's the bookend of the film.
He's very
Okay,
cute,
by the
though.
way, did anybody else think it was very weird that only one dog talked in
Spoke
this
the
whole
whole film.
movie?
Yeah.
Yes. And
And it
all
was-
that he said was just observational comments.
It was Dolomite as a dog.
It kind of was, and like I really think that they just added this after the movie because it almost doesn't make sense. I
you
feel
think-
like this was ADR'd.
Don't you think this is
Yeah.
a missed opportunity to bring in John Candy and make like a hot to trot type movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, Hot to Trot infamously
What if it
was
had
not
been-
John Candy. It was originally like Elliot Gould, and then they
Right.
re-recorded
With
with
John
John Candy because it wasn't funny.
Right.
They were like, Elliot, you don't got it anymore.
This movie would have been better with Bobcat Goldthwait.
I was gonna say Bobcat. Yeah.
So there's one dog that talks in this movie. It doesn't move its mouth or anything, but for some reason we can hear its thoughts.
It's Dolomite, the
And,
dog.
Yeah,
Something
he just.
that is an infamous pet peeve of your father's.
Yes, my dad hated. What was that movie called? Homeward Bound. That's the one where their mouths don't move, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the one where their mouths don't move?
Right.
I remember going to see that as a kid, and my dad left, and he's like, they couldn't even get the mouse to move. Like, what a cheap-ass movie.
Well, the same thing with Milo and Otis, but all those animals died in filming.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
you know.
Yeah.
this movie though has
Yeah.
a lot of really questionable dog stunts.
does.
Like a lot. There
You
were
think
a
there
few
was
parts where Chomps was like pulling that van, and it's like, this is not safe for a dog. Like, that was a real dog. And like other parts where he was like running away from a car that was barreling at him. Like,
Yeah, and you think if they didn't cut it, they'd be like, the car ran him over, like, oh, get another Chomps.
Yeah.
Get another one.
Well, they obviously had many.
They had a Chomps farm.
yeah. We did see at the end of the movie there were a lot of Chomps.
You're right. We did. They filmed that scene first.
That was the first
Right.
scene.
They're like,
yeah.
they're like,
we're gonna have
kids,
to work our way through all these.
Yeah, just so you know, kids, all these Chomps died.
Yeah.
All of them.
There were a lot of cartridges in the chamber. We gotta fire it off one by one.
So then, so this dog, Monster comes
Yeah.
up, and he just like does
Monster
a little.
is such a jerk.
He's
just-
really a cute dog though.
No.
All the dogs
No.
are cute.
No.
Dick. Yeah, he does a little.
He's a dick.
Like all he does is like a tight 5 the whole time. Is he's just like trying to do jokes, but they're not. None of them are really hitting.
No, he's Dolomite, the dog.
Yeah, he kind of is, but his jokes they're so bad.
I had a very hard time understanding him.
Yeah, it's like just mumbling on screen.
Like dog mumbling.
Dog mumbling, yeah. But for some reason, he's
That
the only
dog
dog
needs
that
to
talks.
learn how to project.
Dog mumbling. Is that a Blues Traveler song? It sure sounds like one.
Did you know that on Roseanne, they really love Blues Traveler?
I did not know that. You told me that tonight.
Yeah.
Maybe Rosanna's a Blues Traveler spin-off yeah.
Spin-off of The Runarounds.
Yeah.
Starring John Popper.
Can't wait to see
And
how
Wayne
much
Knight.
of this gets cut out.
So then what happens is like an old lady. So this old lady that will just show up every now and then with
Yeah.
another dog just walks up. And at one point, so Monster looks at her and says, "Up your poop, old lady."
I wrote
Which
down
I
that
was
this
like-
old lady is like literally wearing gunny sacks dresses, and like her dog's name is Muffin.
Yeah.
and she wears some like weird dog
It's
whistle.
like some Disney-looking, you know, Mary Poppins-esque outfit. Like
Yeah,
Queen
but
Elizabeth.
She's
Yeah.
really old and annoying.
She looks like she's wearing like a bed comforter.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, she's a walking bed comforter.
So basically, like Valerie Bertinelli shows up and starts going, "Hey, rascal, where's Brian?" Like it's gonna answer her. And then the old lady comes up and she goes, "I just noticed he left." And I was instantly like, okay, this lady, she's just like, "Oh yeah, he went to work. Oh, and by the way, his boss is very mad at him." And I'm just like, how does she know any of the exposition?
That's her purpose.
I guess.
Yeah.
It was very odd. So then she's like, and also, so Casey, who's Valerie Bertinelli, who's Visor Girl, as Molly calls her,
Yeah,
just
she
wears a lot of hats.
She wears a visor that looks
Oh,
like she's gonna go play the slots in Reno.
No, she puts on a scrunchie hat. Did
She
you
does.
notice?
She has like derby hats that
Yeah.
she wears,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
slot
yeah.
machine, like a Laughlin hat or something, a Reno
yeah,
hat.
like Laughlin, yeah, for sure.
So she shows up, and apparently this is her boyfriend or fiance, but
We
she
don't know
doesn't
that yet.
And her dad owns the security
Norton.
company,
Norton.
and apparently she doesn't know what time work starts because she's coming to his house, being like, "Where is he?"
Isn't she
Blah, blah,
driving
blah.
like a Porsche?
Yeah, well, she's a rich girl, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
This guy, so Brian lives in like the Playboy Mansion
Yeah.
or some shit. He lives in like this mansion in like Brentwood, and there's parts where Chomps is running around the backyard. The thing goes for like days. This
I
backyard.
wrote that down too. I was like, where the fuck are they? Because how does this guy afford to live there?
Because how old is he? Like what? Like 28?
Well, he's supposed to be. Brian is a genius.
Yeah.
He can't penetrate the security.
So this is where we learn though that Brian is well, before we know the real thing, he's actually kind of a loser.
Yeah, he's
Well,
betting.
he's
Putting
in a
all his
garage.
bets on the robotic dog industry.
Yeah, well, he's like the real Rick Moranis. Like he's
Yeah.
just like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids type thing. Like he
Yeah.
makes all these inventions, but he just can't get it right. You
Right.
know, he's always fucking it up somehow. And he walks into this office, so Norton security office, and we get some nice exposition where he goes, "Sorry, I'm late, Mr. Norton." He goes, I'm sorry too, Brian. Sorry I hired you as my security systems engineer." It's like, well, thank God we got that out in that line. Otherwise, I'd never know, you know. I just write, "Hello, exposition." And so
Duck.
then, yeah, duck, it's coming at you fast. So then we learn,
There's more.
then we learn Brian's a real genius, But his latest security system's a real flop.
Yep, because
The other guy says, he goes, "Well, okay, so he made this security system," and he goes, "Watch this. We'll turn it on right now, and if anybody ever walks into this building, the whole place is going to light up with an alarm." And then all of a sudden, two men holding Casey, so Valerie Bertinelli, two men hold her at gunpoint and walk into a security office and are like, "Give us all the money."
and they say their names, and then she's like, "Oh, it's fine. Don't be mad at them. It's totally fine."
Yeah, she goes, "Don't take them seriously." And they're like, "They have guns." And she's like, "Oh, whatever." You know,
Who doesn't?
Yeah, come on.
Like
It's LA
they're
in
friends.
79, you know? So they go, at one point they're like, "Give us all the money." And one of the guys, so the other guy that works for the boss man goes, "This is an office building. We don't have anything." And they're like, "Oh."
Or even security guards.
Then they're like,
Which seems like a bit of a misstep.
give us your watches. Give us your watches and your wallets.
Yeah, and so they hand over all their watches and wallets in a bag, and Valerie Bertinelli like hands it to him, and she's like, "You want it in your hand or around your head?"
Yep.
And Will's like, "Valerie, come on, calm down."
But they already said their names. They literally did.
And then it's because we find out that this is just fucking Chuck McCann and Red Buttons, just chewing up the scenery in this movie. And they like walk into a
Regular
closet.
wet bandits.
Yeah, it goes on for about 3 minutes of them doing all these pratfalls before they leave the building, and you're like, well, that was fucking useless. So
their masks are all like fucked up. They don't even care that the
at one
masks
point
aren't
they
even
just take the
on.
mask off.
Their heads were probably really hot
Yeah, those were like knitted, like
Yeah.
grandma scarves
in the LA sun.
Like almost like luchador almost.
Yeah, they totally
that would
did.
have been better, actually.
And so they're done robbing the place, and then the boss looks at Brian and goes, well, you're fired because your security system is so shitty. 2 armed men came into this office building, which we don't even have anything that they would want, and robbed us. He's like, how dare you? And in all honesty, I'm like, no, you should get fired at this
And
point.
honestly, his plan is crazy. I'm gonna make this robot dog.
Well, he doesn't say that yet.
Yeah, but that's his big fallback.
Because he gets fired and then he leaves. And then Valerie Bertinelli, because she's like, Dad, why did you fire my fiance? And she's like, you don't understand. He's coming up with the best security system in the whole world. And he's like, well, I don't care because this guy's a fucking dunce.
Yeah.
Like, all he has to do is how hard is it to make an alarm?
It's very hard.
How hard is it to hire a security guard?
Did you notice she walks out to her car and that guy like totally hits on her?
Okay, so what are we going to call this guy?
Isn't his name Ken Sharp?
Okay, yeah, but what nickname so that listeners will know who he is? Like, he's like... Sharpie. Okay, so Sharpie is like this guy that works with the dad from Different Strokes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he wants some of that ass.
Yeah, but he hits on her to try to figure out what
He wants to wear her
Brian's
hat.
working on.
He wants to wear her like a hat.
But then, like, she totally turns him down, and he's just like, okay, whatever. Like,
Yeah,
it was like no response.
He says at one point, he's like, hey, I get your boyfriend hired again. Maybe we go out to dinner, huh? We can
like,
talk about it there?
No.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, I'm engaged. And he's like,
Cut to Monster.
Cut to Monster.
Like Oscar the Grouch in a trash can.
Yeah, he's just, every time you just cut back to this dog and he's just going like mumbling jokes. It's like okay. Yeah. I guess kids were just rolling in the aisles laughing at it. Just like, hey.
Who's that dog think he is, Dick Buttons?
Those are about the level of jokes, for real. So,
long night.
what happens is Brian's working in his garage. He's this is the thing is like he was fired, but apparently he was also fired from his home because he goes home and he's like throwing microchips in a box. I'm like, well, you didn't get fired from your house. Like, you don't have to move out. But he's like throwing microchips. He's like, well, I guess I'm going to end it all. I'm just going to go out to Malibu and drive off a cliff at this point.
Did you notice that in his garage, he has like tons of dog posters everywhere? Did you notice that?
Yeah, and this isn't a red flag for her at all.
Yeah, I know. There's like dog posters literally everywhere.
Yeah,
maybe this is like a real doll kind of thing.
Oh,
I almost wrote that down.
No.
And for some reason, like all the dog posters had like really enlarged genitalia. It was very off-putting.
I don't know about that, but they're very anatomical.
Chomps and the real dog.
So he's sitting around working, and then like Valerie Bertinelli comes over. She's like, "I'm mad," and he's like, "That's great," and then. That's basically what happened.
Basically, yeah.
And then she's like, do you have your new security system done? And he goes, yeah. And there's like a 5-minute scene where he brings out a dog. She's like, but that's a dog. And he's like, but that's also my security system. And she's like, but that's a dog. It's like, okay, we get it. Let's move on. Come on. So the way he moves on is he brings the dog on the table and he goes, hey, check this shit out. Fucking twists its head off and pulls the head off a dog. And we just see her reaction shot like, oh my God.
She's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, oh fuck, maybe I should have dated the other guy. Maybe Sharpie was the guy.
It was really shocking.
And then he pulls down the fur, and there's like the control panel.
Also, whenever he takes the dog's head off, it's always in this bizarre like bite, yeah, like a growl.
But it also makes that weird like neck cracking sound.
Yeah.
Because I was waiting for later in the film where he does it to the wrong dog.
That's what I yes. How funny would it be? Come here, Chomps. Rip. And he just fucking Mortal Kombat's it, you know. He's holding it up like Sub-Zero with the frickin' spine coming out of it. Whoops. And so then she's like, wait, you made a robot dog? This is your security system? And he's like, yeah, it's great, isn't it? And she's like, hey, I guess.
Because he's been working on this for how long did it say? Like, I heard 30 years. That cannot be
30
right.
years.
That cannot be right. I thought he said 30. It had to have been like 13 or something.
Yeah, so 30 years.
30 minutes.
So, by the way, he goes into detail about this robot dog.
Oh, I cannot wait to talk about this.
Pulls the fur off of, and it's like a full skeleton of a dog as a robot. It's like a RoboCop, but
Yeah,
a
that's
dog.
what I'm saying. This movie should have been
Rover.
directed by Paul Verhoeven. It would have been a better movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
because there's parts where he peels the face off of
Yes,
it. and
it
he's
was
just like,
awesome.
check out this
Oh,
eyeball.
actually, you know what else it reminded me of was that Simpsons episode when they go to Itchy and Scratchy Land.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, definitely. So he's showing you all the insides of the dog and how it runs on some supercomputer that's just like looks like a balloon, and also how it can play all sorts of sound effects that he
Okay,
puts in.
wait. I want to get back to that cassette tape because Chomp's cassette tape can play any sound.
Yeah.
Like a fucking Teddy Ruxpin.
Teddy Ruxpin, yeah.
And I had a friend that I worked with who told me that he once took his child sister's Teddy Ruxpin and put a Slayer tape in it.
I heard about that, yeah.
And it like totally fucked it up and like never played any real Teddy Ruxpin tapes ever again.
I've heard of people
after
doing
this.
that. Yeah.
Do you think he
But
ever?
I think Chomps was like Teddy Ruxpin.
Definitely. Do you think that maybe he ever put in that Van A track?
I was thinking about that.
You know what I mean? The
Yeah, I
old
know what
Bobby
you mean.
Sex sound.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So
The old X-rated model of Chomps, you know?
that starts humping your leg and everything. Yeah.
I actually thought the Chomps puppet was pretty good. It looked like it was a little authentic though. Like
It was a little too
it
too
looked
authentic.
like a dead dog. Like I kind of think it might have been at least
Chomps,
partially
the real doll.
Yeah.
Well, it's also very off-putting that whenever we see the inside of Chomps, he always has to rip the head off and put it
Right.
on a pedestal. And so you always see like a disembodied dog with a dog head
Yeah. It's like,
growling at you.
Is that required for disassembly? I mean,
Yeah.
why?
I don't know.
So
I'm not
these-
sure what an eloquent way of doing it would be though.
I mean,
It's all like very morbid, no matter how
It
you
is.
try to do
it's
it.
not like sticking an Allen wrench up its ass or anything, like turning
Well,
until
yeah.
it clicks and
No,
pops
it's
it
not
off,
an
you know?
IKEA one. Come on.
IKEA Chomps.
It's just
But I feel
pictures
like-
and diagrams.
It'd be called like the Chompa.
Yep.
So here's the other thing about Chomps is it's like an Alexa, which I shouldn't say that because now
And
it's
now
going to
everyone's
set
just going
somebody's
off, yeah.
Like an
Alexa
Echo?
off. Yeah.
Alexa, play Chevy Van by Sammy Johns.
No, but it is
Yes.
like an Alexa because you're like Chomps 121.
It is Alexa.
But okay, here's the thing. You don't say Chomps before it. You just call out
Say it in
numbers.
a
Numbers and
So
numbers.
it's like, fuck me if I ever brought Chomps to like a bingo hall. Like, oh my God, right?
You're gonna be fucked.
But like if you can, okay, so the thing is, if you own a Chomps in your home, you can never say numbers again.
Never ever again.
Because if you say one number,
Yeah.
it could be anything from humping your leg
To karate mode.
to karate mode.
Yeah.
Which
or
if
both
you're
at the same time.
what'd you get on your test, son? I got 100, and then the dog.
And then you're dead. The
jump kicks
child,
you- yes.
the child will be like mauled in front of you.
Yes. What if he goes, oh, mom, I only got an 80, and then Chomp rips his throat out?
Well, that's what he gets for not studying.
Yeah, that's what the dad says.
There
He
you
goes,
go.
well, we'll make a new one. Because
Yeah.
that kid was obviously a fuck up. But
Chomps
yeah,
the child.
any number 1 through 100 does various Chomp actions, which again, you better fucking read that manual. Because one of them is like, roll over. The other one is bite a man in the dick.
Karate mode.
There's all sorts of like, man, you better get it right. And I feel like in the heat of the moment, you're like, somebody's robbing my house, and you're flipping through the Chomps book looking for the right one,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Where's the Chomps book? Like, you see these two people in bed, this husband and wife, and they're like, holy shit, did you hear that window? I think somebody broke in the house.
Maybe you could have like a little cheat sheet.
Yeah, and they're like,
Wait, isn't there a C.H.O.M.P.S app?
Where's the C.H.O.M.P.S book? Where's the C.H.O.M.P.S book? The C.H.O.M.P.S app. Yeah. Well, nowadays you would have a C.H.O.M.P.S app.
Yeah.
Be like, Siri, C.H.O.M.P.S 22.
And so when you say a number, C.H.O.M.P.S will do something.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's the right one. Because, boy, did they vary.
I feel like C.H.O.M.P.S works better than Siri in this movie.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I think
Like,
so.
100%. Siri is horrible.
But I feel like at the end of this movie, if there was ever going to be a sequel, it was going to be like Terminator, and that like we need to kill every C.H.O.M.P.S alive because he's eventually going to destroy the world.
Molly looks evil right now.
But how do you destroy the C.H.O.M.P.S?
I don't know. See, that's the problem. They just keep coming
He's
back.
like indestructible.
I know, because if you rip its head off, it'll just come at you.
He will continue to come at you.
Because there's a point where the head's ripped off and the guy goes, so I should never say 100. He goes, whoa, don't fucking say that. Do you want to die? Do you think there's like a C.H.O.M.P.S self-destruct? Like,
maybe that's a number we don't know.
Somebody said C.H.O.M.P.S 78, and he just...
There's a mushroom cloud over L.A.
Yeah, because that computer, I think he also said atomic powered. Okay, so we go back to Norton Security, and like...
I want to go back. So first, wait. So he's been building this, and where's he getting the funding? And like, you know, the R&D for this.
We don't know the Series A, Series B.
Chris, he's
Well,
a
it's a-
billionaire.
Well, first off,
He's in a garage.
It's also just a dead dog. He probably found it outside.
okay. And
He goes, yeah, how'd you get the dog? He goes, well, funny you should say. I found a dead dog in my lawn, and I was like, maybe I can make a robot out of
This
it.
is like Reanimator.
it is real.
Oh,
I
there
like
you go.
Well,
So he
they've
also
been-
has, okay, here's the thing, too. So he's invented this dog
Yeah.
with all these expensive parts that he
Right.
says has super hearing,
Yeah.
super speed,
Yeah.
super strength, which is dangerous.
Yet he can't get a regular security system to work while he's working there, and he gets fired.
And he also
That's
says,
my question here.
He goes, he has X-ray vision, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That alone, sir, would get you a Nobel Prize. Like, maybe you should just stop right there. And it's like, this man invented X-ray vision.
Yeah.
And, like,
Yes, I mean, you can buy the glasses from any comic book.
And,
that's where he got it, and he just put it in C.H.O.M.P.S eyes, you know?
and so they're engaged, and she's just finding out about this now.
Yes, and he also said,
Okay.
the other thing he said was that C.H.O.M.P.S skin, again, he can't be killed. He says it's nearly indestructible. I made this material myself.
And then he like taps on it.
And I was just like, yeah, this guy should be working for the government.
Oh,
like,
for
not
sure.
Trump.
NASA.
And not getting
Yeah.
fired.
He has
yeah.
like alien tech.
Like a UFO landed on his lawn, piloted by a dog.
Yeah. He has like Roswell remains, and he used them to build chomps.
But he can't keep a job.
Nope.
Real dunce, this guy. Real fucking dunce.
That's why beef lies.
So I'd like to say
But
now...
he's really crafty.
From now on, though, the other dog that he owns, Rascal, I just refer to as Loser Dog because they just...
Rascal gets really jealous.
Yeah, but they
That's
just
true.
basically throw him aside. They're like, well, fuck that real dog, right? This is the dog now. C.H.O.M.P.S. He's our hero. And Rascal's just thrown aside, and like for a good 40 minutes, we never see him.
No, not at all.
There's a part where Valerie goes, oh, C.H.O.M.P.S getting a little or Rascal's getting a little jealous, and he's like, yeah, go to your room. You know, that's basically what he does because you don't see him for 40 minutes.
Dog depression is a real thing.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Rascal is neglected at this point.
Well, I think it was like a dog screen guild requirement, not to have like two dogs on screen at the same time for a certain amount of time.
So we go back to like Norton Security, and basically what happens is one of the weirdest cartoon scenes is like we cut back and they're on the phone, and some guy on an exercise bike and a cigar.
That was like a guy from Ocean's 11 where they would
Oh,
go
it is
down.
like that. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
totally like
Elliot
that.
Gould.
Yeah, with the like cigar on the exercise bike. He's got gold chains.
Yeah,
I also wrote
tracksuit.
down, is it
Yeah.
Mr. Crown?
Yeah, and he's like, hey, Norton, I'm going to buy your security company, all right? And he's like, no, fuck you. That's how the scene goes, and you're just like, what is going on?
You better prove it.
Okay, so then basically we come back, and then Brian says, like, also he's like, oh, my original model was a Doberman because it felt like Mr. Barbera was just like, I just got to shoehorn this in
I
and be
had
like,
to,
yeah,
yeah.
see, I
And then
got
they
it.
said it was too scary.
Right, because the ED-209 scene happened. They lost their entire board of directors.
Yeah, he ripped a man's genitals off, and they can't replace those. It was a big problem. But there is a part though he goes like, yeah, this Doberman worked too good. And she's like, oh, what? And he was like, yeah, he was chasing cars. She's like, what's wrong with that? And he goes, he catched them. And then he just holds up a tire that's been ripped apart by this Doberman dog. I'm like, well, what happened to the car and the people? Like he just that's why I was wondering if that's where they got that bone.
Yeah, they're buried in the back.
Yeah.
Again, and Rascal's carrying around their remains.
Yeah.
He's like,
That's
snack
the
on
bones.
it. Yeah.
Those are the bones.
So then more burglars show up.
Yeah, like Home Alone.
Yeah, so Chuck
totally
McCann.
Home Alone.
Yeah, Chuck McCann and Red Buttons are just the wet bandits. And so they show up. We don't know what's going on. But they're just like, they show up to rob the place, and then C.H.O.M.P.S. Now here's another problem with C.H.O.M.P.S. So when you put him in guard dog mode, he can see through walls, and he sees Chuck McCann and Red Buttons in the bushes. And what does he do to go chase them?
He makes a donkey sound and a train sound.
Yes, but what does he runs... Okay, this is a big problem with C.H.O.M.P.S. Yes, he can protect your house, but he's going to destroy it because
that's right.
C.H.O.M.P.S. doesn't know how to...
through walls.
Yes, he doesn't know how to operate doors.
No.
At this point, he jumps through a window.
It would have been smart to give him opposable thumbs.
It would have. Like, he should have opened the... Although,
But
nothing would be scarier if you
he
just
does
saw a dog.
operate-
With thumbs.
He does operate a forklift later.
Oh,
You're right, he does.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have... apparently, they didn't program in how to get outside other than running through a wall.
It's collateral damage.
He jumps through a window, chases Chuck McCann and Red Buttons through this mansion backyard. They climb up a tree, and Chomps pushes over a tree. So you watch as Benji pushes over like a good 40-foot tall tree.
Yeah.
And then they land into a hot tub with some, I don't know, naked ladies. And we get a whole joke. And
But not really. Was there even a joke?
No.
It was more just
No,
like,
nothing.
this is awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
And,
Chomps likes, bathing women was
Yeah.
the gag they're trying to go for.
And we should say that, so when you turn Chomps on as a watchdog, his eyes turn blood red.
Yeah.
And the camera zooms in really fast, and then he goes into kill mode where he just
I did like that.
will not stop until
Yeah.
he just grabs somebody and again rips their throat out, basically. So then we just see a terrible scene. So then like Chuck McCann and Red Buttons go away, and then you see them drive away in their van. Of course they're driving a van. And Valerie Bertinelli's like, look, there really were robbers. Chomps is great. And they're like, yeah. And then we just cut to them on a payphone. And basically you find out that Sharpie's a bad guy.
Right.
Because they're calling Sharpie and leaving a message. And that's, it's the plot, apparently.
Can we just get back to like the noises that Chomps was making? There was a donkey and a train and
A machine gun.
it was like out of his mouth.
Sirens.
So, like, Red Buttons is scared. He's like, oh, like, ducking like there's a gun. It's like, it's a fucking dog.
All he's doing is
Because
like
that is a
opening his
little
mouth.
frightening on its own.
Yeah.
A dog that can make gun sounds. If I was like going for a walk and a dog came running at me and started making gun sounds, that would.
Oh,
freak
there's
me
also
out.
bear sounds as well.
Oh yeah.
I would have liked it if maybe Red Buttons hung himself, like, on the tree. He's like, fuck this. I've seen too much in my life. And he's just like, nope.
Oh yeah, he shakes the tree with a boat horn sound and arrows.
He's like, "Brrr," and then the tree falls over, and they fall into a hot tub with
done.
some sexy ladies.
Hey.
And so basically the jig is up. Like, what? Okay, so can somebody explain me what is the plan? The plan is that Sharpie is going to somehow sabotage.
Sharpie hired the burglars
Yeah.
to sabotage Brian.
And somehow
Why?
get blueprints, I guess,
Yeah.
down the line.
Sharpie-
So we can get Valerie.
Sharpie is like Slugworth, kind of.
Yes, so he's like working for a rival security company,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
got the man on the inside.
Yeah.
Okay. He's a real double agent, and he's like going to bring down Norton security from the inside, but he just so happened to hire the two dumbest criminals in LA, which is Chuck McCann and Red Buttons.
Yeah.
And the plan is to do what at this point? That's what I'm wondering. Like, why did they go to Brian's house? Like, he doesn't know about Chomps. They don't know any. Like, it's just. I don't know what the
No, I
fuck
think
is
they
going
just wanna get
on.
rid
Yeah,
of
why
Chomps.
is what's the motivation? to kill?
Again, he's already won. Brian got fired.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
like,
for now.
you've succeeded.
For now.
Like, you don't need to have guys go steal his new security system because he got fired.
So don't the burglars like report the crime and they only have like 20 seconds on answer
Oh,
machine?
God. We don't even need to go
Yeah.
into it because there's a whole, like, Chuck and Red really just chew it up.
And then that old lady comes back. Muffins is gone.
Yeah, and we get another Type 5 with what's his name, Monster, just going like.
No.
And then Chomps makes duck sounds.
Yeah.
I like all the sounds he makes. Sorry, I made so many notes about the sounds.
So then we go back to Chuck and Red, and they leave a voicemail. I just write, what the fuck is going on? And then we get, okay, why do we get a chase after Chomps?
Because it's time for a chase. Chomps is the train.
What is Chomps chasing? All of a sudden we cut to him chasing somebody?
I wrote he bursts through a wall for no reason and causes a car crash.
Yeah.
Okay, was Chomp still going after Chuck McCann and Red Buttons at this point?
I thought so.
Because all of a sudden, you see a man painting a brick wall.
Yeah.
And
then
then
it was a totally different guy. It was like some guy not even related. He was just like, he was painting a wall, and then he saw Chomps coming, and he gets all like fucking scared, and Chomps is like, fuck you, busts through the wall.
It's because
and
she
then
blew a
causes
whistle.
car crash.
Because the old lady blew the whistle.
That's right.
So she blows the dog whistle. So here's again, not only numbers, but if you blow a whistle, any sort of whistle,
No, it's a dog whistle.
puts Chomps into a homicidal rage.
Yeah, like most dogs.
And
But Chomps isn't a real dog.
but he plows through a brick wall.
That
he
guy looks
plows
so
through it.
scared.
Then there's
You would be scared of a dog plow
Yes!
through a wall at you.
Yeah, I'd be not cool with that.
That guy, there was no reason for Chomps to do that.
Are
No.
you saying that guy was just a pussy?
No, I'm saying that was
He's a real
just.
puss. Come on. You ain't never seen
Amber
a
was
dog go
watching
through a
it
brick
and she
wall.
was like, "Pff, grow a pair.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
But
That guy is a total puss.
I do like so there's a lady driving a car.
Oh.
And she just sees
She was so freaked
she
out.
sees this homicidal dog with like foam coming from his mouth and red eyes running down the street that's just run through a brick wall. And she's driving her car. She's like, it's coming right for me. It leaps over her car, and then she rams into the back of another car. It's like a 3-car pileup, and a policeman sees it, blows a whistle, and Chomps immediately becomes not homicidal anymore.
He
Yeah.
was making a train sound, by the way.
In the like the trains are coming.
Remember when that dog bit our car?
Yes, a dog has bit our car. It was pretty terrifying.
Wait. How did a dog bite your
We
car?
were driving through a trailer park in a questionable area.
Yeah.
And
A dog bit our bumper.
there were a lot of stray dogs, and one of them
Was
ran
it
out.
here?
No.
No, different state.
A different place. And one of the dogs ran up to our car and bit our bumper. And Mike was like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do?
So dogs do
I'm
this.
always like, kill it.
He's indestructible.
All right, so can we talk about the water scene?
Okay, wait, what water scene? What are you talking about?
It's coming up.
Oh, yes. Okay, wait, before we get to that. So the policeman blows that whistle and Chomps' rage subsides, right? But I did like this is before the scene ends, the lady goes to the police officer and she's like, it was his guy's fault. He jumped over my car and tries to blame it on the dog. I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah, seriously.
Seriously? Like, that's not going to work for my insurance. Like, somebody's like, this lady said she hit the back of your car because a dog jumped over it, so we're going to have to get the dog to pay for your repairs.
All right, if a dog did that to your car, you wouldn't try that excuse?
No, you just are too stupid if you
Oh my
stepped
God.
on the gas. Like, your reaction is a dog jumps over your
This
car and you
is
slam on the gas.
why I've been saying I want a dash cam.
No, you're not wrong about that.
See?
Yeah.
Just in
Yeah.
case a robot dog jumps in front of it.
I think we should all get dash cams.
Agreed.
Yes, I want one so bad.
Same.
So then it just ends with this weird scene where Monster chases Chomps for a while around train
why
tracks.
is there more chasing? Why?
I don't know. A lot of this movie,
Every
like a good
time-
20 minutes of this movie is dog chases.
Every time Chomps is running, it's in slow motion.
And Monster chasing
What is
him.
with that?
It's in slow motion, but with really fast music.
With fast music, but he's
like,
moving
da, da,
very
da, da,
slow,
da, da,
and
da.
it's like supposed to like simulate like a powerful run, but it's the opposite.
It's because
Yeah.
he has superpowers, and they can't really make that happen in a movie yet.
Well, they should have
Jump,
sped it up.
Jump, jump, jump.
Yeah, so they should have sped it up to be faster.
Yeah, they should have sped it
they
up.
They had the wrong knob.
They should have just played
They
like the
slowed
Benny
it
Hill
down.
song.
They're like, this movie needs to be longer. Make them run in slow motion.
Make it faster and play Benny Hill.
Yeah, but there's the chase.
And they end in a park
And then Monster's there.
where apparently it just ends where Chomp turns on the sprinklers and Monster just gives up because
And he lays down.
he doesn't like water or
Oh
something.
my god, I just realized this movie is so long.
Well, the plot is very non-existent.
Yeah.
True. This is around the point where we left from watching this movie.
Yeah, we watched it in 2 parts.
Some of us watched it twice.
Yeah, I have seen this movie twice now. So
I
we
was
go.
just shocked that there was anything left because like it's just been going in like nowhere for so long.
Yes, okay. So we turned back on. Like at this point, we went to dinner. We turned back on the movie. Because I told Mom, I was like, "There's only a half hour of it left," and she goes, "But nothing's happened."
Yeah.
Nothing happened after the half an hour either. No.
It's like
I have 2 more pages of notes.
It's like a 70s movie. Like basically, what happens is it goes wander, 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 plot, and then it just ends.
So there's chasing,
Yeah.
and there's sprinklers that Chomps turns on with his mouth. No hands.
And apparently, Rascal just gives up.
No, not Rascal.
Rascal,
Monster
just
like
gives up.
lays down in the middle of the fields and is wet.
Yeah,
That's it.
Basically,
the scene
yeah.
just ends. Okay.
That's it.
Also, because Brian keeps talking about how the Chomp has bugs. And I was like, at what point is this dog going to rip some man's head off? And he's going to be like, oh, it's just a bug I'm working on, you know?
Yeah.
You could have been more creative with that line delivery, like, "Oh, I got to work out the ticks." You know,
He's got a few fleas.
yeah.
Literally bugs.
So then we go to the boss's house. So like the boss, Mr. Norton, he's playing pool, and his daughter's like, "You can't fire my boyfriend," and he's like, "I did." And then he shows up with Chomps, and basically now he's convinced that Chomps is great. Like
But
that's
wait,
Well-
what was confusing about this scene is like she's talking to her dad, and then the boyfriend Brian gets there to talk about Chomps, and then the dad gets so mad he leaves, and it's like, isn't
Yeah,
that
it's all
his
dumb.
house? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever.
so basically now he's on the side of Chomps because he does say the word 100. He says 100,
Oh,
and
that's
Chomps
right. And then
kicks
it's
him in the
karate
face.
mode.
Yeah, Chomps like kicks him in the chest and collapses him and everything. And he's like, "No, Chomp's a good guard dog." And this is the thing again where this world is a real pile of shit because all of a sudden 2 guys come up and they're like, "Mercedes right there," and they
Oh,
go
yeah.
into this guy's driveway to steal his tires apparently.
Do
And
Mercedes have better tires than other cars?
I don't know. Why not just steal the car?
Yeah.
No,
That's
they
what I'm
just
wondering.
want the
Like,
tires.
this world is such a shithole that if you drive the car out, maybe they're just going to rob you because you have a nicer car. They're like, you know, you may not even get that to the chop shop. Somebody's
I thought they
going
were
to take it
driving up
before.
in Brian's truck.
It did. It looked like the same truck, but you do
Yeah.
learn like for some reason they had 2 yellow trucks in this movie, which was a bad choice. So they turn Chomps into guard dog mode, and he sees
Do you think
X-ray
one of the
vision.
yellow trucks is a robot truck?
Yeah, it's like a real transformer. It's a
No,
real
like
bumblebee.
Chomps.
Could be. In this world, we never know, Molly. So Chomp sees like X-ray vision and goes after the guys in the trucks, and then they get in like a big chase scene. And so this goes on for a long time. Is Chomps is chasing these guys in the truck, and they're like scared of it. They look behind, they're like, "That mutt's onto us." It's like, it's a fucking dog. What is he gonna do? Like, they don't know he's a robot dog, but they're like, "He's gaining on us," while they're driving. It's like, who cares? And I mean, really, if you're a criminal, just back up. You know?
But
Yeah, hit reverse as hard as you can, and you know.
Run over the dog.
no, but doesn't like Chomps busts through the door and he has sirens coming out through his mouth.
Yes, now
and
he has police
chases
sirens.
The car, but then the dad gets in like the Mercedes and they realize that the wheels are stolen. They
Yeah.
can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So they get in Brian's truck. So it's two.
Yep.
Like, what better thing to have in a chase scene than 2 cars that look exactly the same
Exactly.
chasing each other? Because I don't know who the fuck is who. And also, this is when I wrote, let's talk about the obvious bug of Chomps not being able to use a fucking door. Because the way he gets out of the house is
He
he
busts
just
through the door.
No, not even a door. He runs through the side of the wall. Like he
Oh,
He goes through fucking like. He runs through the foundation, basically, like the frame of this house. And that's how he gets outside. He's chasing him down. We have stumbled upon a Burger King commercial.
Oh my God!
There's
yes.
cops and journalists.
Okay,
Yeah.
so cops and journalists, they hang out together all the time. They're like, so what story? Can we go beat up somebody? Maybe make a
Like,
little...
what's going on? What's
yeah.
going on?
How
What's
about some
going
9
on?
o'clock news action, huh? Can we rough up some guy? And they're
He's
like...
he's got a gun.
And we cut to like this big sign that says Burger King, home of the Whopper, you know, and the cop's just sitting there and he's like, no, I'm going to enjoy my Whopper first.
It looked like he was drinking antifreeze out of his styrofoam cup.
He goes, did you
Go
know
back and look.
Burger King has all sorts of beverages?
Yeah.
You know, all sorts of wonderful beverages. Have you tried the Whopper with cheese? And they have a nice conversation about Burger King and Whoppers. It's time for our lunch. And then they sit down, and then one of the trucks pulls up. We don't know which truck because we can't see the people. I thought it was Brian. And the guy the cop stands up and goes, "Oh, it's ticket time."
Yeah.
And then they hear another siren. They go, "Oh, somebody's got us covered." C.H.O.M.P.S comes...
It's the dog siren.
Well, yeah.
It's coming out of his mouth.
C.H.O.M.P.S runs through a Burger King, like an outdoor, like a patio Burger King, which I've never seen, which was odd.
Oh, it's real chill. It's the 70s.
Yeah, a 70s style Burger King where you can eat outside and inside.
Why?
It's a wonderful restaurant.
Or eat in the street, as my dad puts it.
Yeah, eat in the street. C.H.O.M.P.S runs through this Burger King. You know what would have been a real great addition? He should have grabbed a Whopper on his way through.
Oh, shit.
Like, what if somebody's about to bite the Whopper and he goes, like $6 Million Man style?
And the next shot is of him with that little crown they give you. The little paper one.
Yes, he runs. He's got a fucking Burger King crown.
He flashes his Burger King Kids Club
Did
membership card in the camera.
Did you think this was going to be a real thing? They were like, all right, maybe the Burger King people are going to want like a little sponsorship with C.H.O.M.P.S, you know,
Yeah.
little Happy Meal
mean-
C.H.O.M.P.S.
Chomp.
Yeah, the Chomp Burger.
They were gonna, the Chomp Burger. They were gonna have a
Chomper.
box. The Chomper. They're gonna have a box shaped like Chomps that you opened up like a robot.
You
you
take
know?
out the head of the
It's the
box.
head. You open up the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Chomps cup.
Yeah.
And the way you get to the straw is you twist his head off
Yeah.
and drink from the spine.
And it's like a strawberry shake.
Yes. And the burger is just raw ground beef.
Chomps tartare, you know?
What is it not? Oh, gotta cut that out.
Okay, so this all ends in, we've run into the box factory in L.A.
Whenever there's cardboard boxes, you know that there's gonna be something coming up.
So, okay, this is my...
Wait, was this the box factory or the trampoline
No, it was
factory?
the U-Haul. It was the U-Haul guy.
No, this is the box factory. There is a guy...
God, this movie is long.
who is just piling empty boxes on top of each other. Like, so he's made the boxes, which is like, you've done this all wrong, sir. You've made the boxes, but there's nothing in them.
Yeah.
And he's piling them.
Piles.
He's piling.
Piles.
He has a graveyard of empty boxes, basically. It's like, this is where
Like
U-Haul
12
boxes
feet
go to
tall.
die. Yeah, he's just piling boxes, and he sees C.H.O.M.P.S run up to his van, and then C.H.O.M.P.S grabs the back of the U-Haul van and pulls it
This
into
is
the
the part
street.
I was talking about. It's a questionable dog stunt.
He has
Of many.
super strength. Hello.
Yeah, but the dog wasn't really pulling it, like in
Yeah,
real
but he's
life.
right behind. There was a real dog pulling on that.
Oh.
Well, that car was like backing up or in neutral.
Molly, if you don't think they said cut, we need another Chomps.
Well,
because that
that's
van
what
ran
I'm
over
saying.
a
It's just like
dog.
Milo and Otis.
Because you didn't see that big stain on the ground. They had to power wash out every time. Oh no! God damn it! He got behind the tire again. Get another Chomps. We're all out, sir.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Is there a breeder around here?
that explains why Chomps was suddenly a poodle.
Yeah. That cuts to they go. I thought Chomps was a Benji dog.
Yeah, but whenever you see a bunch of cardboard boxes, you know something's about to go down.
Of course. But here's the best part. They're in a chase, and Chomps gets ahead. By the way, there's a part where the guys in the truck go, "It's that dog again." And he's like, "He took a shortcut."
He took a shortcut. What the fuck?
So he gets in front of them, and they're just like, "What's that dog doing?" And he pulls a van out into the road. And this is my favorite part, is the guys who are in the chase don't react. They're like, "He's pulling a van." Oh, God! Like 5 feet from it, they slam on the brakes and turn real hard into some sort of, again, box factory. Because
like
they
that.
drive through a box graveyard. There's
It's
just
amazing.
boxes laying everywhere, but like a little course to go through, I
Yeah.
guess.
No, they
it was-
drive straight through them. I thought that one.
Well, they do. Yes, they do hit a giant pile of boxes.
Yeah,
like
that was
and,
great.
you know, spared no expense over at Hanna-Barbera
Yeah.
because
Boxes.
a good 50 boxes.
Yeah, but it was probably somebody's really badass fort.
It was some homeless guy came back and he's like, "What happened to my house?"
Chomps.
Yeah, and they're like, "It's all for the good of cinema, sir." Have you seen Chomps? You heard of it?
It's like I just remodeled.
If any luck, it would be Murray Langston's home, you know. So
I just wrote dumb music at this time.
I had a question for Chris earlier.
Yeah.
As a resident music expert, what was that wet duck sound? It was like
what
in the
instrument
music,
was
and I
that?
was like, "What could produce this noise?"
a wet duck.
A
It
wet
sounded
duck.
like a wet quack. That's the only way I can describe it.
A lot of these things are usually made on the spot for a specific sound. It's God knows what they
It
put
was
together.
Don Cheadle doing.
Yeah,
Sound
it was Don
effects.
Cheadle.
Yeah.
He had like a balloon and like some Jello.
So I wrote
That's
down
usually
that
what it
Chomps
is.
got really blue eyes this time, not red ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and he also runs through a fence. Like
Yeah,
the fence at the
right.
end of Savage Streets that Linda gets caught
Yeah.
in.
I do love
Like-
that cut where it explodes.
The fence explodes
Yeah.
into the air and Chomps
like that
runs through. And then these guys, okay, so the way this chase ends is they're like, fuck, this car only goes forward, because they just run into a warehouse and they're like, well, I guess we're stuck now.
Yeah, but Chomps is on the case because he gets on a fucking forklift. And I was like, does Chomps have a forklift license? Because
Right?
he's a dog.
Maybe he got like a job at Costco for
I
a
don't know,
summer.
but he like knows how to drive a fucking forklift, and then he gets yellow eyes.
Did Brian program Chomps for forklift use? Because it's
I
like
mean, he should be
maybe-
working in a fucking.
This-
He should be working at Costco.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
Do
he's
you
a-
think he programmed was like, well, if Chomps
have
isn't going to
good
work out,
benefits.
yeah.
They do.
If Chomps isn't going to work
Thank
out
you.
as a security dog, he could at least be like a loading dock guy.
The loading dog.
Yeah, a loading dog. Like, you imagine going down to the docks and instead of longshoremen, it's now just a bunch of Chomps.
It's like the Flintstones. It's a living.
And instead of like real hookers,
We've
there'll be Chomp
returned.
hookers.
We've got full circle. We're back to animal slavery. Hanna-Barbera.
Yep.
There you go. I love the idea of going down. You're like,
It's like an obsession of theirs.
somebody going down on the like this boat from China just pulls up, and they're like, "Where are all the longshoremen?" And then just like this
It's all
army of
Chomps.
Chomps just comes up and starts taking
They're
boxes.
coming in from their break because they're all union dogs.
yeah, they got their union cards and their
Yeah.
hard hats, and they're riding around on forklifts and stuff. So here's the thing, though. He puts the forklift down, and the guys are still in the truck, and instead of pulling away, they go, duck! And they just duck as the forklift crushes the
Smashes
car.
them, yeah.
They don't even attempt to get away.
They're the Home Alone guys.
Yeah. And then the police show up, and the news shows up, and Brian...
Oh, that's my favorite.
And the boss...
Yeah.
And Valerie Bertinelli show up, and they're all like, isn't Chomps great and everything? And the news is like doing a report on him and everything.
Like, this dog caused this, but then they spin it around and say, oh, he in a way.
This dog caused this.
Yeah.
Tonight at 11, dog operates forklift, almost kills 2 men. Oh, wait, they were criminals. Okay. But I don't like this is that the dog, like, so the news guy interviews Mr. Drummond, and he's like, this is a real crazy dog you got. And he goes, yeah, it's a robot watchdog, and everybody's going to have one of these. And he goes, this dog's 1 in 100.
And then I feel like Chomps is racist.
Yeah, Chomps is a little racist thing because the news reporter is black, and he attacks this guy.
Well, he attacked that. I already forgot his name. The guy that's standing next to the news reporter. Thing.
No.
He
But
attacked
he like
him earlier.
no.
He said 100. It was the gag was done twice. Wasn't
Why
it?
would you ever say the word 100 then if he attacks you if you say 100? That's
Yeah,
what
why
doesn't
would that
make
ever
sense.
be programmed
totally.
in there?
Like, when you say 100, the dog shouldn't attack you. He should attack the threat.
Yeah, maybe it's
So
just
that's
like
why he's racist.
Is
Maybe
this like it's like a fetish thing?
maybe it's directional based. Whatever
No,
way
Yeah,
you
it could
shouldn't he
be.
be like he should you like Alexa. You're like, Alexa, play Spotify. It doesn't say play Spotify of
Chomps,
you.
jump on my chest and attack me.
Yeah,
Like I'm
Chomps,
saying,
give it to me real good.
yes, I'm saying. By the last 10 commands, they were running out, and they're like, "We got forklift, we got union card. What do we got? Fetishes? We can add those. That's what he goes. He's
Was
like,
Brian
oh,
that smart?
yeah. He's like, oh no, that's his karate move. Don't mind that he's taking your pants down or anything. That's
He's got a whip.
He's got a leash.
Do you think there's like a Chomps massage, like all sorts of?
Chops.
I want to know all the Chomps codes now.
Yeah. Do you think
I
there's
want the
one
whole
point
list.
where Chomps is does like a little massage thing, like his paws vibrate,
Yeah.
and he just can rub your back and make you feel better.
Or something else.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's called fetishes. Chomps, the toy for every man and every woman.
I don't want Chomps.
It's a magic snout he's got there, you know?
Ladies, you don't need a man. You just need a Chomps.
God. I don't want anything called Chomps near my genitalia. Thank you.
Yeah, I could see the ads in Playgirls. It's like, he doesn't bite, ladies.
He chomps.
But
This
his
dog
name
doesn't bite.
is Chomps.
Maybe me a little nibble here and there.
He's just sitting by a glass of champagne.
Champagne is magic
And he
soda.
goes, he'll never forget your birthday. Chomps.
Well, it is like a glorified Alexa.
Yeah,
so
Yeah.
He'll bite into your heart.
Yeah, they're
Well, it's
gonna
like a violent Alexa.
they're gonna make like a her, but with chomps.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Yeah, what are the moral implications of Chomps?
Yeah.
I think we're starting to see them.
I mean, do you take
Can
it in
Chomps feel?
no, because
As somebody says, can this dog feel? Well, they
as you thrust it into it? Does it reciprocate?
It's got a fleshlight attachment,
Yeah,
you know.
how much of this episode is gonna get cut out?
Can I take it into the
Most
tub?
of it.
So many ramifications to get.
Wait, no, ma'am, don't take it in the tub.
The power grid goes out and half
42,
the county.
42.
Okay, so then we go back to the security office and basically like, hey, this thing's really good. This chomps. And they're like, yeah, that's great. And basically that's what happens. And then the business guy, so Sharpie's like, what the hell are you guys talking about? They're like, here, come outside and let us show you. And so then they bring Sharpie out to the parking lot and they're like, watch this dog. And they're like, he's a guard dog, a robot guard dog. And he's like, well, I don't believe you. And he goes, well, here, climb on this ladder and pretend you're a robber and Chomps will kill you. Because basically what happens is he gets on the ladder and they tell Chomps to go. He bites this ladder that Sharpie's on and they're just laughing about it. And then it gets serious as he pulls the ladder over and like, luckily there's a giant box of cocaine for him to fall into.
Thank
Right?
God.
What was that? Anyways, besides cocaine, asbestos.
It was like cocaine or fake Christmas snow.
it was cocaine.
What they flock trees with.
But doesn't like Chomps like jumps in some weird box and presses a lever that like takes him up like some kind of conveyor belt?
Did you just say
Oh, no,
lever?
no. We are in that's a scene coming up.
All right.
No, this is when they're in the parking lot and he rips Sharpie off a second story with a ladder and
Yeah.
basically kills a man and they're just laughing. They're like, heh, heh, heh. And then so Sharpie gets mad and he's like, oh, look, I'm going to be a criminal in a car. And this part is a little scary. This is when I started to think like Chomps is a little too strong for his own good. Is Sharpie drives away and Chomps catches him in the car by ripping the top of a car open like a can of tuna. Yeah. Like he rips it's not a soft cover. He rips the metal sheet of the roof of the car off of the car with his teeth.
Yeah, like you're opening like a thing of yogurt.
Yes. Yeah, like he's eating a thing of yogurt and you got Sharpie in the inside. And luckily they told him to stop before he dove in the car and it just became a bloodbath in this thing. And so that's how the scene ends. And so then basically what happens is there's this whole thing. Basically the jig is up. This is when the plot happens. It's when Sharpie goes, hey, the other company has a robot dog and it's going to be like big and popular. And they're like, oh, okay, that's great. We should go steal the plans or something. They're like, yeah, Then we just get this whole scene at the airport with fucking Chuck and Red Buttons where they're talking to Sharpie, but they won't talk to him, and they talk to him on a payphone.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
God,
the
is it
gag,
bad?
yeah.
It just goes on forever and ever. You don't even really need to mention it.
No.
Then we go to for some reason, now the big test is we're going to put Chomps in a furniture store. So they're like, hey, so like Mr. Drummond says like, this is my friend who owns a furniture store.
Yeah.
And to test out Chomps, because apparently this guy's store gets robbed every day, apparently.
Right.
And he's like, man, your security systems aren't working, Norton. You know, this one better work or you're going to lose your contract. And so the thing is, he's going to have Chomps patrol this furniture store and get all the criminals, right?
Right.
Because every night this IKEA is getting robbed. So what happens is they like lock Chomps into a building. For some reason, Chuck and Red Buttons are in there.
It's like a wet bandit situation.
Yes, and then that's the part when we see Chomps for some reason, instead of just being a guard dog, he likes to ride around on a conveyor belt.
Is
And
this
like
the trampoline factory?
it's like I don't know what you call it other than it's like a furniture store, but it's also a sporting goods store. It's like the original Walmart.
I just remember
Yeah.
seeing a lot of trampolines.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of stuff, but for some reason Chomps rides around on a conveyor belt for a good like 5 minutes, and we just watch him just riding around.
I mean, I would.
And then we just watch him chase Chuck and Red Buttons around this place, and they do their all chewing up the scenery, pretending like they're mannequins and riding on skateboards. And then this ends by Chomps chasing these guys out a second story window. And thank God there's a dumpster that they fall in. Otherwise, they would be fucking dead.
Yeah, Chomps literally has committed almost 2 murders in this film.
Yes,
so far.
a total homicide. He
Yeah.
chases 2 men out a second story window, and they luckily land in a dumpster.
Yeah.
And then this is even weirder. So this town is so shitty. Apparently, other people are now robbing the store.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because there's guys that show up to rob fur coats, and they're like in a laundry car and everything. And then Chomps catches them by running through the back of the door. Like he runs through a sheet metal rolling door.
Yeah.
And then he jump kicks a van and flips it over. And then the cops pull up and everything, and they're like,
That's the best part of the movie, I just have to say.
Yes, Chomps
Can we just talk about that more?
drop kicking a van,
Yeah.
and it
it's the best.
flips over.
So they just like throw the dog at the van and like pull it from
No,
behind?
he like
or...
runs at it.
Okay.
and the
then he,
cops
like-
show up, they go, oh, they're dead. They're
It's
like,
the best part of the movie.
yeah, and Brian comes back, he's like, did Chomps catch the rabbits? And they're like, well, what do you define catch? Because all we see is a bunch of red in this car. It's like, we don't need the jaws of life because we can just send this one off.
It's like someone's bought some pasta and it exploded. Yeah.
It's like a can of Chef Boyardee in there. So, what happens then is, and then by the way, Chuck and Red Buttons, I guess they get killed because they get thrown in the back of a garbage truck and hopefully compressed. Then we get this horrible part where Brian and Casey go on a date because in the last 20 minutes of this movie,
the worst. Anything with them is so insufferable.
they like the last 20 minutes of the movie, they're like, we really need to prove they love each other, and this is a love this movie, it's not about a robot dog, it's about love. Okay,
That reminds me, like, if you watch like the Terminator 2 deleted scenes in the commentary, there's this scene where Michael Biehn, he has like a 2-minute cameo in the second movie that they cut, thank God. He came on and says, Terminator, it's actually, if you look beyond, it's a love story.
Wait, he says that in Terminator 2?
Yeah.
He goes, you know what, Linda, don't worry, it's a love story.
Yeah, he says that like in the commentary, like, I always thought of it as a love story, between a man and a woman and a robot.
Like,
So,
does he mean that Arnold wanted to fuck with Hamilton? Is that what he meant?
The only thing that sets Rascal apart is that he has a real heart.
Yeah.
He's the only one capable of love.
Like, when Rascal humps your leg, he means it.
Yeah.
Chomps, it's just,
It's dry.
It's just
again,
instinct.
yeah.
It's just dry
he
as a
doesn't
desert.
feel, Just thrust whatever you want into him. He doesn't feel.
like
He's just going through the motions.
like a Russian prostitute.
Yeah. There are some nights when somebody's thrusting that Chomps, and the look in his eyes is it's just routine. He's been through this day after day, and it's just another night.
The love is gone. But was it ever really there to begin with?
But sex cells don't feel anything.
Does Chomps feel?
No, they brought that up.
What does Chomps see when he closes his eyes at night?
No, they brought that up at the beginning of the movie. They say like Chomps doesn't have feelings. They do say that.
Yeah. Well, I think
And the other benefits are that he doesn't shit and he follows obedience.
yeah, you don't need to walk him.
Yeah, whatever.
His only downside
And he doesn't
is
talk back.
he might murder your child.
Also numbers.
Yeah, you better, for God's sakes, don't let your kid learn math in the house.
Or watch Sesame Street with the count on TV very loud.
1, 2, Chomps, no!
1.
And some parent walks in.
22.
Are you enjoying Sesame Street? Oh my God, my kid's head is across the room. He looks like a can of Chef Boyardee.
An Italian pinata, as you would call it.
Okay, so this movie is getting very close to the end, but for some reason we
Thank
have to have
God.
a superficial fight between Brian and Casey, where they're at a tennis club for no reason, and so Sharpie just shows up, and Casey's like, oh, hi, Sharpie, how you doing? And he's like, hey, where's that secret meeting your dad's going to have with Chomps? And she's like, well, I don't know. And then Brian walks up and goes, hey, why are you talking to that jerk? And she's like, well, he works for my father.
I was at the edge of my seat.
Riveting.
And so Sharpie walks away. He goes, oh, well, I'll leave you two alone. And then Brian says something like, you shouldn't talk to that guy. He's a real jerk.
Real
Oh, no.
human emotion.
He goes, he's a real creep. And she goes, I happen to think he's kind of nice. And then they get in a quote fight, which apparently this is a big rift. Okay, because the next thing is he's fixing Chomps, and this scene is my favorite scene in the whole movie. So Brian's fixing Chomps on a work table, and he's going on and on about how he got in a fight with his fiance because he called a guy a creep, and he says that Chomps never gives him this type of trouble. And as I write in my notes, here's the thing. I wrote this in my notes. I wrote, do you think in this moment he is thinking about building a robot Casey? And then
Stepford Wives.
he fucking says...
Yeah.
It's like a long beat, like it's like a minute. And then he goes, maybe I should just build a robot Casey. And I was like, what? Like, okay, so
Stepford Wives.
this
Yeah,
movie's
that's it.
I wrote electronic girlfriend.
this movie's getting
Like-
real fucked up.
Like
he
sex doll.
And he looks at her and goes, yeah, one that doesn't use her teeth.
One that doesn't chomp.
Roll credits.
He goes, Casey, I just want you to know, have you ever thought about living forever? Because, I just want you to know that I did use Rascal's skin to make Chomps. I'm just saying, I think I could do the same thing for a person. How would you like to be like a superwoman?
Oh my god! Oh my!
But I do think like maybe this movie, if it did have a sequel, was going to turn a little dark, and him.
I don't think the sequels were supposed to be of Chomps. I think they were supposed to be like of other
Casey
things.
the Robot Girl.
Yeah. Casey bot.
Yeah, Casey Bot. Like this is just all Blade Runner. Like, don't you understand?
Small Wonder.
I was thinking the same thing. Small fucking wonder.
Now that is actually really disturbing if you think about it. Why did he make a child robot? Couldn't he made a grown woman? Like, why did he have to make it as a child?
Do you remember the episode where she got possessed by a ghost? It was awesome.
I used to love that show as a kid. That would make a good mini bin. A little small
Small
one.
Wonder.
I can't believe Small Wonder is a Chomp spinoff.
What about the kid sister and kid brother things as commercials? I think that could be a good bin.
Oh, I
spin-off.
had. You know what? I had a kid
Mini bin.
sister, and my mom had to take it away from me because the hair got wrapped around my neck in my sleep.
Was it your
shit.
real kid sister?
Are you talking about the doll?
No, your sister.
No. The doll.
So basically, this movie is almost done. What happens is...
Almost.
Yeah. Okay. So Monster comes in, and there's this whole mix-up where he like lets the real Chomps out of the cage, and then Rascal gets in the Chomps cage. Real dog. Yeah, just like that. Real dog.
It's it having a stroke.
Yeah, he does basically. He's just a dog having a stroke.
Or the voice actor.
Every time he talks, he's like having a stroke.
That's what he says. He goes, "Kill me, Chomps, kill me."
44. Just do it.
But I feel like
I wanted a real scene with like Chomps, like a Forrest Gump and Bubba type thing in Vietnam, and Chomps holding Monster in his arms, and he's like,
Just say it.
Yeah.
Just say it.
Yeah.
"It's warm. It's so cold. It's so cold, Chomps." Maybe more like a Starship Trooper scene. He goes, "At least I got to have you." Funniest line of that movie.
Oh my god. Yeah.
So,
I gotta save Chomps.
yeah, like I could just see it now. Like the future is really bleak because I feel like this is maybe kind of on the edge of Blade Runner. Like we're in like 2020 right now because we know the new one takes place in 2033 or whatever it was, and like just armies of Chomps, like Vietnam music, you hear like "Run Through the Jungle" and then just these
Or Fortunate Sons playing.
Fortunate Sons playing, and all these Charlies, they're just sitting there and they go, "Dog." And then just like all these dogs with AKs just start running
Green
through.
helmets and fatigues.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you think one of the Chomps did like a Willem Dafoe, like a in Platoon?
Yeah, he heals. You know, he's like.
But he makes like a blowhorn sound while it's happening, followed up by like a slide whistle.
Do you think that when the Chomps run in, it's Flight of the Valkyries? That's like da 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 da, and then they just.
No, it's the Chomp song.
Yeah.
I want you to cut that in.
It's that, but it's like down.
Yeah, but in Vietnam, like if you ever hear that song, people start running because they're like, "Oh no, it's coming again!" No. So basically, yeah, there's like this dog chase with Monster and Chomps, and Chomps gets taken. So like Monster sets up a trap for him where he gets taken by a dog catcher.
Yeah.
Which I also wrote in my notes. That's a real old timey profession. I never hear about anybody
net,
being a dog
mind you,
catcher
yeah.
anymore.
People work for the animal care and
Animal control.
Yeah, of course. But here's the thing that really bugged me is he pulls into the LA County dog catching place. And the one guy walks up to his van, the dog catcher's van, and he goes, "How many mutts you catch today?" Like it's a quota or something like, "Hey, how many did you round up, huh?
Yeah.
You know, how many dogs did you just go grab out of people's yards today?"
Well, maybe in that day,
I feel like
because
they-
of the Chomps.
Yeah, I feel like they get paid per dog is my theory. Like, how many you got today? 21? Great.
Well, isn't that like, how many parking tickets did you give today?
Yeah. 21 dogs, though. I was like, shit.
People are not caring for their dogs.
No. Also, what really upset me was that Chomps is fooled by a net. We're talking about a
And it
dog.
gets, trapped by a net.
Yeah, we're
That
talking
can-
about a dog that can plow through a brick wall, but he can't chomp out of a net.
He doesn't have empathy.
He's like a
They
trout.
established that. He's like a trout.
Yeah, he's like a trout.
Yeah.
You know, trout can go right through a boat, but that net, whoops.
Yeah. Well, a really big trout could.
That's how you catch is that how you catch like a great, maybe in Jaws, they should have just had a
They
big
just
net.
had a real big net.
Is that why you asked me if I wanted to go like deep sea fishing earlier today?
Yeah, just get a net.
Yeah. That is a dream of mine, though.
I don't know if that would work.
So, okay, basically what happens is the guy says, I caught 21 mutts, and they're,
21 jumps.
yeah, we're all going to, put them in the oven. And, well, that's what happens. What do you think they do with animals
That's
when
a
they
shelter,
catch
yeah,
them?
Oh my god.
They're not exactly running Uber Pets over there.
Yeah, we got 21 for the oven today, sir.
Where do you think that store got all their fur coats from?
Yeah, exactly. So they're about to lead these dogs into the gas chamber, but he says 21, and Chomps, apparently that means earthquake.
No, it means karate mode.
I thought 100 was karate mode.
No, I thought 21 was karate mode.
Well, I have no idea because all of a sudden an earthquake happens and all the dogs get out and they're all free.
Yay.
And so then Brian and Casey are at their house and they're like, oh, okay. Because at this point, the dad went to this demonstration. He's like, well, if they aren't going to be here, because Brian, he says I got in a fight with Casey, and he's like, well, Brian, I don't think it's that important. Can we go do the really important demonstration with the military we're going to do?
Yeah, at the LA River.
Yeah, at the LA River. It's our whole business depends on it. And he's like, no, I got to go apologize because I called the guy a creep. And he's like, this fucking guy, right? So
just text him, whatever.
He brings the wrong dog. So he brings Rascal to this demonstration. And there's a whole mix up because Brian and Casey come back and they're like, oh, but Chomps is here. And so now they're driving to the LA River to go see this demonstration. Now the demonstration is there's a bunch of
live mines
marine
and
trucks.
Yeah, and live mines that if they hit the antenna on that suckers are going to go off.
Yeah, so the guy says, the demonstration is, and we've never seen the dog do anything like this. He goes, your dog can tell a real mine and pull it off a minefield, right? You said that was possible, right? Because that's what we're hiring for, is the next Vietnam. We're hiring these dogs to go.
I think I was like, shit, I shouldn't have upsold that.
Yeah, these Chomps are going to clear minefields for the soldiers.
Yeah, it's like Minesweeper with dogs.
Yes, the dogs are apparently going to go.
Did you notice it was the U.S. Marine Corps?
Yes, that's why it was really troubling that they were going to have a dog. They're going to have dogs running around taking mines.
Yeah, Minesweeper with the U.S. Marine
And so
Corps.
they're like, okay, so for some reason this test is we've set up 5 mines on a field and only one
with
of them's
trucks
active.
driving very
This
slowly
is your tax
forward.
dollars at work.
Yeah. And so the trucks are going to drive towards us And when one of them hits a mine, if your dog doesn't save it, we're all going to die because all the trucks are going to explode. So your dog will be able to save our lives, right? And he's like, yeah, sure. And he starts saying numbers, and then Rascal just runs around the field.
Rolls on his back.
Yeah, and he's like running around the mines. All the mines go off except for one more, so it's going to explode. Brian and Casey pull up. Chomps, he runs out of the car. He grabs the mine and runs it. At first, I thought he was running towards the people with the mine, which was really scary. Me. Like, the end of the movie is just he runs into the group and just explodes everybody.
It's not much better.
So he runs to, like, the rival security guy is hiding in an outhouse conveniently placed next to this test field.
Well, all of LA is an outhouse, so we really surprised.
You know, down by the LA River, too.
Yeah.
Unless you watch the movie Drive, where they go to that nice
it's
little
the
LA River
Ocean's
park.
11's guy.
Yeah, so Elliot Gould's like sitting in a toilet, like the original. As Molly said while we were watching, it's the original Jurassic Park scene.
Yeah.
With the lawyer in the toilet.
That.
So he's sitting in the outhouse, and like Chomps brings the mine there.
Spielberg watched this movie and was inspired.
Definitely, because then all of a sudden, Chomps puts the mine in front of the outhouse. The guy opens the door, and he explodes. And at this point, we thought Chomps has killed a man.
Yeah.
And everybody runs over and goes, all right, Chomps, all right.
You killed him.
And then he's just, no, because it's a Hanna-Barbera cartoon. Like, he's just in his underwear, and he was all singed and everything. And then for some reason, he has a CB radio in his car, and they find out there's this big plot to steal stuff. And
Right.
like, basically, Chuck McCann and Red Buttons and Sharpie are at the office putting C4 on a safe.
He's putting faces on the C4 thing, and it's like silly putty or some shit.
Plastic explosives.
Yeah.
Basically, what happens is they arrive with Chomps. So Casey and Brian arrive with Chomps. That Chomps stops Chuck McCann and all them, like, puts a flagpole on their car.
Yeah.
Then they're all running up into the... This is the best part of the whole movie. Brian and Casey are running up to the office of the building. And Chomps is like, oh, fuck. He runs up there. They walk into the office when there's 10 seconds left on the safe, on the C4 about to explode. And Chomps grabs the C4, jumps out a window, and explodes.
Yes, it was awful.
And Chomps, like,
Chomps explodes.
He explodes and is splayed onto the parking lot.
Right.
He is ripped open. Like, Chomps is ripped open. Like, again, like a Vietnam.
You know what audiences love is seeing a cute dog blowing up.
Yeah.
It's a robotic
They
dog.
have
Whatever.
mortified children. They're like, oh, mommy.
Do you think that's how the Air Bud
And they
series
show
ends?
it. It doesn't happen like off screen. You see it directly.
This
I
is...
think you even
real
get a close up
dog.
afterwards.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, you do. Yeah. You
Yeah.
get the insides of the dog all burned up. Chris said this is how the Air Bud series ends.
Yeah.
Air Bud goes to Iraq. Air Bud in Fallujah. Somebody just-
Army Bud.
Army Bud.
It's all in fatigues.
It is with Air Bud getting sniped.
He was actually who flew that chopper in that SEAL Team 6 mission into the compound. Why do you think that chopper went down?
We all know it was Eddie Deason flying that chopper. So,
Oh, God.
the end of this movie is them in the parking lot caring for a dead Chomps as he's splayed open.
He's like got smoke coming out from him.
Yeah, and I love this part. Is so the real dog finally makes friends with him, and he licks his face and everything.
They have a love
They're
affair.
like, oh hey,
And then
remember me?
Yeah, and he gives him his bone, and I love his.
When you say gives him his bone,
oh, I need
wait.
it. Yeah, he
Wait.
starts humping the Chomps.
Hold
dog.
on. Isn't it Chomp's Day?
Oh yes, there was a sign at one point that somebody said
Like Mother's
office
Day?
closed because it's Chomp's Day.
yeah, it's on the window. Of
and
the,
Red
the
Buttons
door.
has a joke like, "Was that like Mother's Day?"
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Hey.
Chomp's Day.
So no, okay. So they're caring for this dead Chomps who's exploded all over a parking lot, and Rascal licks it, and then he brings it a bone. And I like this as Brian goes, "It's a little late for that, Rascal." Like it's almost like it's Rascal's fault. Like you could have helped him earlier. You know, you could have died, Rascal. You aren't the future. You know, you're just some dumb dog. I could always get a new one of you. But no, Chomps gave his life.
And then
No.
came all the conspiracy theories like, well, C4 can't, melt steel Chomps.
Yeah, I thought that signing was indestructible. You know,
right?
never seen a Chomps collapse like that.
Not on its own.
All these Chomps conspiracy theories. And so, the eyes have turned red.
Fucking muffin.
Chomps is alive. And he wags his tail and he's like, I can put him back together. I can make him new again.
We can rebuild him.
But what does he do?
Faster, stronger.
So he basically builds a bunch of Chomps, and it all ends with like 15
why are they all on
Chomps.
shelves?
Yeah, all the Chomps go on the shelves. Take their rightful place.
Yeah, but why aren't they on fucking shelves?
They are retail ready.
Yeah, retail ready.
They're on like library shelves.
Yeah, Chomps, put your ass down. No,
like-
that's not.
They didn't really seem to resolve too many of the bugs before they went like
There were so many
Yeah,
Chomps
like,
and they
yeah.
all
to
just
like
got on
larger
shelves.
production.
That's what I'm saying.
And he didn't even solve the whistle problem before that.
No, certainly not.
Because the movie ends with the lady walking and the old lady walking and blowing the whistle, and then all the Chompses go running
Fucking
off.
Muffin.
Yeah.
Muffin.
They
That
go-
fucking dog.
Yeah,
is
Muffin.
The worst.
It's the catalyst of it all. That's how Judgment Day began. Was Muffin and a whistle.
Yeah.
And so Judgment Day has now started because she blows the whistle and all the Chomps go da 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 da, and they murderous rampage Terminator out of this garage. They're diving through windows, they're running through the walls, and Will just looks over at her.
It's one of the plagues.
Yes,
It really is.
Brian looks over and he goes, "It was all the whistle. That's what destroyed the world."
Yeah, but what did they do next?
Well, okay. The Chomps, they have a revenge, okay, because they have a bloodlust, and they go after Monster,
Yeah, because Monster's a dick.
and they corner him in his doghouse.
Yeah.
They rip it apart. They're taking this thing apart like it's a fucking zombie ripping through a home. And the doghouse falls onto...
Like, literally does hit the dog.
Yeah, it falls on the Monster, and
And it's
ends
like a
with...
Charlie Chaplin thing.
Yeah, like Buster Keaton with
Buster
the house
Keaton,
falling
yeah.
on.
But let's
Yeah.
remember, this is a PG movie for children. The last line of the movie is...
Oh,
shit.
shit.
Yeah, that's the PG version. The G version did
R
not
version.
have that. No. The regular G version did not have that cut.
He went,
Monster didn't say anything. It
Oh.
just fell on him.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
friend looked it up. He did a lot of research after we watched the movie. He did like a
I'm
few
a rape
hours.
to that dog.
Well, because I have a feeling that parents brought their kids and they're like, what the fuck did this just
"Oh, sheep
Yeah.
dog."
happen? By the way, it ends with the same line as the end of the van. Because the last line of the van is, "Oh shit.
Oh.
I met a girl." So I'd like to say, now that we've come full circle, this is the last episode of the Grindbin.
Ever.
Thank
We've
you,
now
everybody.
ended.
Taking the money and running.
Oh, shit.
So guys, recommendations for Chomps?
Background sex noise.
Do you think there was ever a time when Valerie came into that garage and Brian had his pants around his ankles and she's like, "What are you, Brian? What are you doing?" "Nothing. Don't come in here."
I'm wrapping presents. It's an awkward day.
I think the movie is a great precursor for a lot of other things. So, like things being invented in a garage, like Siri and Alexa.
So you feel like Bill Gates and
You're
Steve
giving this movie
Wozniak
a lot of credit.
probably
Yeah.
watch Chomps. They're
Yeah,
like, "Hey,
well-
if that man make a computer dog in his garage, we can make a
There was-
computer in our house."
There was Norton Security.
I would
Yeah.
say this was a precursor to the Furby,
Teddy Ruxpin.
Teddy Ruxpin.
I mean, how many parents do you think, after the kids went to bed, took that Teddy Ruxpin and tried to experiment with it? If you know what I mean.
Just as many as did with Chomps, Chris.
There you go.
Just as many. Yeah. So this dog's anatomically correct, right? Why are you asking that, sir?
I mean, it's got it in and an out, right?
I think it's an entertaining movie. I would recommend it.
I would not.
watch.
I would say that I have lost all faith in cinema.
You hated this movie that much, huh?
I was pretty mentally checked out for a good 3/4 of it.
I give it a soft recommend. It's very bizarre. And I do like how it has multiple points. Well, we did see a dog tell an old lady to stick it up her pooper.
That was good. I
I
did like
Monster.
that.
I
yeah,
like
Monster.
He was a cute dog. The
so-
dog's cute.
Dolomite the dog really saved
Yeah.
it when he goes, "Oh shit!"
That was
at the end
good.
of the movie. No, I give it a soft recommend because it's fucking crazy and it should have never been made, and it was a disaster. And Hanna-Barbera should be embarrassed.
I think they were.
Chris, what do you say?
Oh, fuck
Oh, you
this
said
movie.
background sex noises.
Yeah, background sex noise. Yeah.
If this had been animated, it wouldn't have been good, but it would have been better.
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not a recommendation. That's just a statement.
Yeah, just a statement. So, guys, before we end today, do you hear that sound?
My God.
How do you think Bobby and DeVito would fit in the world of Chomps? Who wants to go first?
Like Amber being the guest
Amber,
gets first.
do you want to go first,
crack.
or do you want to build it up?
I want to wait for other people.
I feel like, obviously, this is, again, L.A.,
Yeah.
1979. We know there's a certain yellow van rolling around
There
town.
is.
I feel like at one point Bobby goes, "Hey, how about you? Do you want a 69?" And as he says that number, all of a sudden, he opens the back of the van door, and you hear, "Da, da, 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 da," and it jumps right on his dick and bites.
I'm not even gonna bother now. You can't top that. You cannot top that. I'm unplugging my mic. There's no point.
I feel like Bobby and DeVito are like somehow like some of the robbers.
They kind of reminded me of the robbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, they've gotten into the robbing game because
But
the
I
car
feel
wash
like-
business has
But
really
I feel
gone
like
under.
they short-circuited Chomps to like do weird things, like getting into the hot tub with those sexy ladies.
Do you think they blew a little joint smoke in his face?
Oh yeah, for sure. But they programmed it to find sexy ladies in a wooden hot tub. That's the gig.
Oh my god! So like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
they do is they always have Chomps like run into a lady's backyard. That's
And,
what
like,
they programmed it
steal
for.
her bikini, like on
Yeah,
like
and they
the,
make-
the like sunscreen thing.
And they go, "Oh, have you seen my dog? Are you looking for Chomps? You know?
Oh, living in the hot tub.
Oh yeah, is he in there?" And then there's a hot tub. I like that.
I think Bobby would get Chomps and use them to get ladies to impress the ladies by teaching them tricks. But he doesn't actually count on women giving him his number. Like, he wants to forcibly have his way. So women start actually giving them their number, and they start writing the number, say, "No, don't!" And then the dog just destroys them.
Yeah, they write the exact number.
Yeah.
That just makes Chomps self-destruct.
Yeah, they say it out loud. "Oh, give me my number. Write it down. It's 714-7." No.
Molly, what do you think? Do you have anything?
I have no idea. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, thank you for joining us on another episode of the Grindbin. Uh-oh. Why is that phone ringing?
Oh, fuck. I
What
disconnected
the
it.
fuck?
He has a live
Christ, can
feed
you-
again. Hold on.
Jesus Christ, can you patch that in?
No, hold on.
Hello? Hello?
Oh, God. Hey,
Yes, Mr. Crown?
Domino's.
Very funny, man.
Oh,
Very funny. I just want everybody to know that I'm back, baby.
mm-hmm.
I'm back.
Oh, Mr. Crown, thank you so much for flying me here.
I flew in Amber. Amber, by the way, thank you for the delivery. I did. It was not more than a one-bagger, that's for sure. You know, if you want to get cocaine across this state, the best way to do it is to fly, baby. And you learned that today, didn't you?
Yeah, sure. Now, you can find other people besides me.
Well, I'd like to say that now that all the sexual stuff is taken care of in Hollywood, there's no more complaints going on. I feel like I can finally come up from the basement I was living in. Like, have you ever seen that movie Blast from the Past?
Brendan Fraser?
When that Tarzan kid comes up above ground with Christopher Walken or something.
Oh, no.
That's me, baby. I'm back. Also, thank you for whoever wrote the 5-star review that said, bring back Mr. Crown, because I'm back, baby. I'm back.
All right, well, thank you for joining us on another episode of the Grindbin. Grindhousefilm.com, Grindpod, on Twitter, Facebook, we're Grindbin Podcast, Instagram, all that shit.
Yeah.
You can email us at grindbin@gmail.com and join our Patreon for as little as $2 a month. You can check
Or
out
you
all
can
our...
join for 10, which is the greatest amount to join.
Yeah, because you can request a movie, like Amber did.
Absolutely.
Got Dr. Minks on the show. Yeah. Go ahead, check it out. $2 a month, you can get our mini bins and all that good shit. More people joining, that's great. Thank you. Bobby, fuck the Chomps.
Hey,
Bobby, I got the money.
Yeah, I made the team. But you're a hooker.
Get that goddamn thing out of your mouth.
I said it, got no real rhythm.
Hello, sister.
We're gonna play a little game, baby.
I just love fun and games. Get a little girl all hot and horny.
This is Los Angeles.
How the hell would women live? I'm horny. And maybe Daddy would have had to kill himself because he couldn't get it up anymore.
What a shame.
Come on, just step on the gas before we get green.